we have questions about their franchise. Mr. Chair, we see now this pattern of violations, Section 4, Section 10, 11, 12. Parang wala na nang gagawang tama.
Are you receiving any monetary benefits from SMNI? Detail to us how much you're receiving as consultant?
Sizable amount, Mr. Chairman.
Which is
This is $1 million.
how much
$1 million
per
per month.
per month?
Yes.
3 weeks at ngayon lang po kayo lumitaw kaya medyo nakakagulat po ang pagdalo ninyo sa committee.
Dim the lights if needed on the portion of the
Pwede pong lakihan, Comsec. Okay. This is a social media post from SMNI, and I will read it. SMI News collabs with CGTN. CGTN, Mr. Chair, dear colleagues, is the China Global Television Network, which is one of the 3 branches of the state-run China Media Group. So, ibig sabihin, yung CGTN, yan po ay pag-aari ng gobyerno ng China. SMI News and China's state TV, CGTN, are poised to establish partnerships to facilitate the dissemination of information. The collaboration aims to enhance the exchange of news and promote a deeper understanding of current affairs between the 2 media organizations. By working together, SMI News and CGTN will deliver comprehensive and reliable news coverage to their respective audiences. The initiative underscores the significance of international cooperation in sharing diverse perspectives and fostering a more informed global community. The meeting between the executives of the 2 networks took place in Beijing, China. Mr. Chair, the reason why I'm bringing this out, because this is very dangerous, no? Kung ang isang franchise holder ay may cooperation o collab with the Chinese government, state-owned o pag-aari ng gobyerno ng China na media network, eh alam naman natin ang linalabas ng China ngayon, lalo na sa West Philippine Sea, ay puro kasinungalingan. So ano magiging epekto nito, ang tanong, doon sa binigyan ng prangkisa ng Kongreso? At ang isa pang mahalaga dito, Mr. Chair, please allow me to show naman a video clip from the last hearing.
The agreement with this company is not SMNI, that's the one but SMNI Foundation. That's a different company.
Pwede po kaya lakasan, i-replay ulit, tapos lakasan lang natin yung volume.
Based on my information, Mr. Chair, the agreement with the Chinese company is not SMNI, that's the one but SMNI Foundation. That's a different company.
Okay, Mr. Chair, paano po natin ma-reconcile? May we ask the representatives of SMNI, how can we reconcile this? Doon sa social media,
SMNI with CGTN, iba naman yung SMNI Foundation with China Embassy Partnership. With China Embassy Partnership and SMNI Foundation, I have with me a memorandum of agreement with the Embassy of the People's Republic of China and SMNI Foundation. This is with respect to the basketball court financed by the embassy in Davao City and Dagami, Leyte. This project is part of Chinese embassy's initiative for people-to-people exchanges with the Filipino community. Iba po yun. But with respect to SMNI and CGTN, this is with respect to the collaboration of SMNI and China State TV, CGTN, following the executive meeting in Beijing, China, last July 2023. The partnership of SMNI and CGTN will allow both parties to share only news videos that can be aired in each platform. CGTN has correspondents in different parts of the world, and through this partnership, they can also report SMNI, especially in international breaking news. On the other hand, SMNI will provide packaged news coverage. This is similar to the practice when subscribing to other international news agencies, such as Reuters, Associated Press, CNN,
Mr. Chair,
and
Mr. Chair.
The Honorable
Before
Member.
Attorney Tolentino continues his statement, I just would like to remind him he's under oath. And therefore, he must speak the truth in this committee. Because if not, I'll be compelled to move to make a motion to declare him in contempt of this committee.
Thank you very much.
Chair, Mr. Chair. Yes, before we let Attorney Tolentino continue, I think in that meeting, if I recall correctly, we can ask the stenographers to check the records of the meeting. Hindi po niya sinabi that there were two separate agreements. Ang tanda ko po, ang sinabi niya, walang agreement yung CGTN with SMNI News at isa lang ang agreement na yun po ay yung sa Chinese Embassy at SMNI Foundation. Pero ngayon po, sinasabi po niya, dalawa po yung agreement. So please, to our stenographers, kindly check kung tama po yung recollection ko doon sa meeting na yon. Kasi yun po ang tanda ko. So magkaiba po yung sinasabi ngayon na dalawa yung agreement, magkaiba rin yung sinasabi noong nakaarang hearing na isa lang po yung agreement. So, pero habang chinecheck po ng ating secretariat yan, ang mabuti lang po, humingi na lang po tayo ng kopya ng agreement ng SMNI News tsaka ng CGTN. But still, before the end of the meeting, I would like to read the transcribed version so that we will know if he really said that there were two o ang sabi niya doon sa meeting na yon ay isa lang po yung agreement. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, to expedite the situation, no, Mr. Chair.
There was a request by the Honorable Chanco for copies of what you are reading, those two. May I ask the page to please get a copy of what Attorney Tolentino
I have with
is
me-
reading? May we have a copy while you're reading it?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, in the spirit
Then,
of
the Honorable Dan
in the
Fernandez.
spirit of fairness, may we allow the resource speaker to recollect his statement in the last hearing, thereby asking him to find out for himself kung he mentioned those statement that was mentioned by Congressman Toby. In that case, we will be proceeding with our hearing para makatipid po tayo sa oras.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Kasi I also believe that you mentioned that statement, Mr. Chairman.
Can I make a
Well, may I
clarification?
have the other agreement? Because there were two agreements that you mentioned.
Can I make a clarification, Mr. Chairman?
I'm sorry?
Can I make a clarification?
Yes, but can we have another copy? You mentioned of two agreements.
I only mentioned one agreement, Mr. Chairman.
No, you mentioned that there's a foundation
The-
and there is
Can
a...
I finish my statement, Mr. Chairman?
Okay, please.
The agreement is only between SMNA Foundation and Chinese Embassy Partnership with respect to the basketball court in Davao City and Dagami, Leyte. With respect to the SMNI and CGTN, there is no written agreement yet. It's still in the process of negotiation.
Okay. So we have a copy in our possession of the agreement of the Embassy of the People's Republic of China in the Republic of the Philippines and SMNI Foundation.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So you confirm
Yes,
that
Mr.
this
Chair.
is a copy, a true copy.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And you're saying now that the second agreement does not have anything in writing.
Yes, Mr. Chair. It's still on the process of negotiation.
Okay. So, the Honorable Chanco, you still have the floor.
Yes, that's okay. I will just coordinate the committee secretariat with regards to the transcript.
Are you-
And you can proceed, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes,
Again,
Attorney
Mr.
Tolentino.
Mr. Chair, with respect to the other issue, Mr. Chair, subject to the constitutional rights and laws, Mr. Chair, and for the spirit of Christmas and humanitarian reason, Mr. Chair, I'd like to request this honorable committee through the chair that my two clients, Ka Eric Celis and Dr. Lorraine Badoy, be released from detention, Mr. Chair, with undertaking that they will write a formal letter to this honorable committee through the chairman about this request, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Attorney Tolentino. We will await those letters. We're in receipt of one, but we still don't have another one. So anyway, we will go to the proper, at the proper time. I will be calling on you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr.
Thank
Chair,
you very
before
much,
we
Attorney.
proceed,
Yes.
may I ask, sino po yung nagsulat? Dalawa yung kinontem po natin, si Celis and si Badoy.
Yes, on,
Sino na po ba nagsulat requesting for reconsideration?
Yes.
well,
we are still writing it,
we
Mr.
are in receipt this morning of a letter from Ka Eric Celis, and we will read this later. No, we will have to proceed with the hearing,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
and after we have tackled, we will go to the portion where we will be discussing this. Thank you
So,
very much.
Mr. Chair, for clarification purposes, we only have one letter at the moment that has
Yes,
been
we
received.
do have. We only have one.
So wala pa tayong letter coming from Badoy.
Opo, wala pa po tayong
Okay,
letter
thank you,
doon.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. So, the Honorable Toby,
Your request.
Yes,
Just
Mr.
look,
Chair.
if you're telling us that they have their own constitutional, we have our own also here.
We'll
And what
agree
we're
with that.
doing right now is our constitutional right.
I'd
And
like to
therefore, you
reform-
ought to reform your statement,
Yes,
Mr.
Mr.
Chair.
Chair. Can I reform my statement, Mr. Chair?
okay, we will go there later, okay?
Thank you, Mr.
But the Honorable Benny Abante, you still have the floor for any interpretation on the bill of the Honorable Mings Ugrales.
Mr. Chair, what I just would like to raise is that I think Madam Badoy made a statement that the House of Representatives is infiltrated with communist elements. I know that they can be able to answer it. Perhaps our lawyer here could be able to answer that. Why did she make that statement?
That's why, Mr. Chair, if our request will be granted, they're willing to answer that, Mr. Chair, because they have personal knowledge about that question, Mr. Chair.
So,
Chair, I'm
in
going to
short,
have-
you do not have any, you can explain,
The best person to answer that, Mr. Chair, is Dr. Lorraine Badoy and Ka Eric Celis with respect to the terrorist issues, Mr. Chair, or the NPA or communist issue, Mr. Chair.
may I just ask, are you still lawyering for them? You were a hired lawyer in the last hearing. Are you still going to lawyer for them today?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so does that also go with Attorney Rex Suplico?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so now, Honorable Abante,
Yeah, Mr. Chair,
you still have the floor.
Sa akin, in the spirit of the season, you would like them to be released also. But when you begin to make statements like that, accusing the House of Representatives to have communist elements here, well, that would be a very big accusation that this House cannot accept, Mr. Chair. I'm going to continue later on with my interpellation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Benny Abante. We now go to the third interpreter, the Honorable Daniel Manuel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Magandang umaga po sa lahat.
Magandang umaga.
Yes, Mr. Chair, ang tanong ko ay related din doon sa partnership ng SMNI sa Chinese State Media Network na Chinese Global Television Network o CGTN. Mr. Chair, may ipapa-flash po sana tayo na ilan sa mga na-observe din natin regarding this partnership. Kasi meron pong isang tweet ang account na SMNI News sa platform na X, which is formerly Twitter, announcing this deal. Ang sabi po doon sa tweet, at kung maaari po ay may flash din ito, and I quote, "Isang partnership deal ang nakatakdang isapinal sa pagitan ng SMNI News at ng China Global Television Network or CGTN para sa pagbabalita." End of quote. Tapos, Mr. Chair, sa ilalim po nun ay yung link sa website ng SMNI News. That would be smninewschannel.com. Ito po ay na-tweet noong July 18, 2023. Ayan, maifa-flash na po ba natin? Ayan. Sige, while naantay po natin, Mr. Chair, para din na-explain ko ang nilalaman nitong nakita po natin. So, part po ng tweet ay yung link. So, kung i-click po yung link, dapat makikita ang news item ng SMNI to further explain ano ang partnership deal. Pero Mr. Chair, pag na-click na po ang link, ang lalabas na po ay yung error na mensahe, 404, oops, that page cannot be found. So Mr. Chair, may we know bakit po hindi na makita ang ganitong web page sa smninewschannel.com?
Mr. Chair, can I ask if it is Facebook, YouTube, TikTok? May I know what platform is that, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, I just mentioned, may tweet po sa X, which is formerly Twitter, tapos may link po ng page, pero ang link po mismo, pag ini-click, ang lalabas po ay wala na ang page.
To the best of my knowledge, Mr. Chair, the Facebook, the Twitter, YouTube, tinanggal nila ang SMNI, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, ito po ay sa page mismo ng SMNI. It's smninewschannel.com. So Mr. Chair, ang tanging may control po nito ay SMNI, hindi po ang ibang mga social media companies or platforms.
If I
There's
can
someone
Sorry.
who can answer this correctly. Please introduce yourself and what position do you hold?
I'm Cristina San Pedro, Mr. Chair, a part of the BOD but also involved in operations at SMNI.
Please, you have,
Thank you.
please
Mr. Chair.
answer.
Okay. Maybe the Honorable Raul Manuel was saying, the link that he was saying was because most of our videos on our website before was hosted by YouTube. And since our YouTube
Mr. Chair, allow me to
channels
interrupt.
are taken down.
Hindi po connected ang inyong website sa YouTube.
Hosting.
Mr. Chair, kasi baka malito po ang committee na ito dahil again, ang website po na ito ay mismo nasa news channel or ibig sabihin, nasa website mismo ng SMNI and no other entity has control of that website except SMNI. So, ibig sabihin, Mr. Chair, kung na-take down ang page na ito, it would be SMNI that took it down. So, ang tanong po natin, bakit hindi na available ang ganitong news item which is supposed to explain that tweet regarding the partnership of SMNI and CGTN?
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Is this your first time to attend the hearing, ma'am?
I was here sa first hearing po. Not my first, Your Honor.
Were you part of the
No,
group that
no.
that received the oath?
Just today, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so can you please rise and I direct the COMSEC to administer the oath to a member of the Board of Directors of SMNI.
Please stand and raise your right hand.
Kung sino pa ho nandito na naimbitahan galing po sa SMNI na bagong imbita, please sabay-sabay na po kayo tumayo.
May I call on Ms. Hannah Jane Sancho, Ms. Cristina San Pedro, Ms. Lodevia Ayang, Ms. Loris Nepomuceno, Brother Marlon Acobo, and from the AMLAC we have Governor Eli Remolana. From the NLRC, may I ask Mr. Presiding Commissioner Victor Abisilia, and from BIR, Ms. Marilu S. Nebit to take the oath. Please raise your right hand.
May I point out, Mr. Chairman, that the representatives of the Anti-Money Laundering Council are Attorneys Romeo Raymond Santos, that is me, Attorney William Russell S. Malang, and Attorney Jeffrey Alejo.
May we also ask all of the AMLAC to please rise. Thank you. Kung meron pa ho nandito na hindi pa ho na naimbitahan na hindi pa ho na-administer ang oath, pakitayo na rin po. Kung meron pa po. Okay.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this congressional inquiry, so help you God? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sa mga panauhin. So, we now proceed. Please reply to the question raised by the Honorable Manuel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To the best of my knowledge, we have discussed that with our technical persons that some of our videos are being hosted in YouTube, so therefore it disappears. That's as far as I know about disappearance of videos for the moment, Mr. Chair.
The Honorable Manuel.
Mr. Chair, I don't think we have to be technical experts about the internet and websites para po maintindihan na hindi po katanggap-tanggap ang naging sagot. Mr. Chair, ayun po naka-flash na sa ating screen. Ayun kung pwede po ma-back para mapakita lang natin ang tweet regarding the partnership from the Twitter account. So Mr. Chair, ayan, yan po ang tweet mismo ng SMI News at andyan po yung link, yung naka-blue. Tapos po, kapag i-click na po ang link, ayan, so pwede na pong next, yan po ang lalabas. So again, that website is by SMI News itself. The page that is supposed to contain the news na nandun sa tweet is hosted by the SMNI website. So, Mr. Chair, maybe we can hear for one last time kung meron pong ibang paliwanag. Kasi kung wala pong ibang paliwanag, then we can only conclude for ourselves kung bakit tinanggal na iyan ng SMNI.
Again, Mr. Chair, if we go back to the tweet that Honorable Manuel is pointing out, it says that isa sa pinal po, so it doesn't mean na even nawala po yung video, which we cannot also know right now kung ano po yung pinapoint out niya na video. Ang sinabi po ng tweet ay isa sa pinal. So ibig sabihin po, yung sinasabi po ni Attorney Mark kanina na ongoing po yung transaction, wala pa pong nangyayaring final na transaction with CGTN. Maraming salamat po.
Mr. Chair, the resource person is not answering the question. We are actually not referring to any video which is hosted by some other platform like YouTube or iba pa. Ang nasa link po ay mismo galing sa SMNI. And clearly, gusto nating i-establish ang fact na tinake down ng SMNI ang sarili nilang balita to explain the details of that partnership with the CGTN. So,
Ma'am, please reply. Tinanggal niyo ba o inalis niyo ba?
Mr. Chair, wala po akong personal knowledge. Kung yan po ay tinake down, yun po ang to the best of my knowledge na ma-i-explain ko na napag-meetingan namin ng IT before pa way back kung bakit nawawala yung iba namin mga videos.
Sino pwede mag-explain nito? Kung hindi ko kayo ang board of directors, di ba dapat yung mga lahat yan, yung mga technical, mag-explain sa inyo kung ano nangyayari sa inyong website at ang inyong mga tweets?
Yes po, Mr. Chair. So
Is there a way you can ask that now? And I'll get back to you later.
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Okay?
Thank you.
And I know si Attorney Rolex, kino-coach ka rin yan. Kaya, Attorney, baka pwedeng patawagin po natin at malaman po natin para matapos na po itong mga issue ko din. Maghihiling na naman ako para lang pag-usapan po yung mga issue yan. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Salamat, Attorney. Ang ginagalang na Attorney Rolex Suplico.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Isang elementary pa lang ako, binabasa ko na yan. Nasa dyaryo. Ngayon, kasama ko na. Okay. At roommate ni Congressman Dan Fernandez na inamin ni Congressman Dan. Ang ganyan, yan ay ibang usapan yan, ha? Kung ano pong, at saka may relationship kayo, binanggit mo, no? So, pabanggitin natin. Gusto ko malaman ang klaseng relationship yan, Kong Dan. Okay. Sige. We now proceed. The Kong Manuel has the floor. Please proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So dahil po apparently ay na-take down ang news item na ito, galing mismo sa SMNI, they posted it, and then tinake down din po nila. So tatanungin na lang din po natin ang mga detalye. So dun po sa partnership ng SMNI News tsaka CGTN ay aside dun sa video sharing, ibig sabihin po ba noon, the Chinese media can feed us with videos na pwede nating i-play dito and the other way around? Ano po ang terms na gustong ma-achieve ng agreement ng dalawa?
To whom?
To anyone po
Anyone.
in SMNI.
Yes, ma'am. Kayo pa rin.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes, you may.
Ang natatangi po na magiging laman po ng agreement na yan ay kung mayroon po silang video footage na gusto namin na gamitin sa aming balita, ay pwede po namin gamitin at hindi po nila kami pwedeng diktahan kung anong balita ang aming ipapalabas. The same goes with them. Katulad rin po yan ng subscription sa routers, yung pinapaliwanag po kanina ni Attorney Mark. Ganun lang po, Your Honor. Mr. Chair.
Honorable Daniel.
Mr. Chair, dahil nga isa sa mga issue na mahalaga din at dapat nga ay may active role ang lahat ng mga Pilipino ay ang pagdepensa ng West Philippine Sea. So, Mr. Chair, so far, may mga napapublish po ba na mga balita ang SMNI in connection to the issue of the West Philippine Sea?
Ma'am, who will reply? Yes. Please state your name.
Good morning,
and
sir.
position.
Hannah Sancho, SMNI po. Member po ng BOD and kasama din po sa operations ng SMNI. Kung ano po yung mga balita po na nakukuha ng mga reporters namin with regards po sa issue po ng West Philippine Sea ay binabalita po namin po.
So, Mr. Chair, how often ang coverage ng SMNI regarding what is happening in the West Philippine Sea?
Please proceed.
Your Honor,
Yes, please reply.
whenever magkakaroon po ng press conference na pinapatawag po ang Department of Defense or Philippine Coast Guard in relations po sa West Philippine Sea, meron po tayong reporters po na nagko-cover and binabalita po nila on the same day po. May mga beat reporters po tayo sa Defense, sa PCG po, lahat po ng areas na may concern po sa West Philippine Sea.
Mr. Chair, would SMNI agree na ang West Philippine Sea ay bahagi iyan ng teritoryo ng Pilipinas?
Yes,
Who will reply? Attorney Tolentino.
yes, Mr. Chair, we agree that West Philippine Sea is part of the Philippines.
Now, Mr. Chair, with that, paano po natin matitiyak na ang coverage when it comes to this issue ay tunay na magiging aligned doon sa ating claims with the West Philippine Sea kung ang partner mismo ng SMNI ay isang media network na ito ay bahagi talaga mismo o ito ay pagmamayari ng Chinese government.
Sama sa
Attorney Tolentino.
sinasabi ng ating director, hindi didiktahan ang SMNI kung ano yung news na ipapakita. But based only on the video, parang hiraman ng video, same also yung ginagawa ng other media networks na mga subscribers. Kasi yung subscription kasi ng Reuters, yung agency fronts, may bayad po yan. But with respect to CGTN, walang bayad po yan. So, yun ang pagkakaiba. But still, ang ginagamit natin, yung mga video clippings, magano na po, but it doesn't mean na may dikta on the part of the CGTN to the SMNI. In fact, per record, Mr. Chair, wala pa pong final written agreement with SMNI and CGTN.
Mr. Chair, what is the timeline of that agreement? When is that expected to be finalized at kailan mapipirmahan?
Who can reply? Attorney? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For now, wala pa pong timeline itong mga usapin na ito sapagkat lumalalim po ang ating usapin sa West Philippine Sea. Yan lang po. Thank you.
Can SMNI elaborate on that, Mr. Chair? Kasi ang nabanggit kanina, whatever is the stand of, for example, China doon sa West Philippine Sea, hindi daw makaka-affect sa kanilang coverage. Pero ngayon, Mr. Chair, ang binabanggit dahil umiinit ang issue, then hindi pa definitely makapagsabi ang SMNI, kailan mapipinal ang agreement?
Katulad po ng sinabi ko, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please, you have the
Yes po.
floor.
Katulad ng sinabi ko po kanina, wala pa pong final date dahil hindi pa po kami uli nakikipag-usap sa CGTN kung kailan po ito maisa sa pinal. Kaya po ang aming mga balita ay isa sa pinal.
Sige, Mr. Chair, kasi ang naging tweet mismo ng SMNI News, ang pinakita natin kanina, ang sabi po doon, the partnership deal is set to be finalized. And ang date po nun ay July 18, 2023. So, Mr. Chair, ilang buwan na rin ang lumipas. Kaya, I think it is timely for us to ask, no? Kasi nga, ang involved dito ay ang patuloy na operations ng SMNI. And we have the right to know kung kailan talaga mafa-finalize ang ganitong agreement, kung ito naman ay titindigan talaga ng SMNI na matuloy.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Attorney
the last
Tolentino.
meeting with the executives of SMNI and China State TV, the CGTN, was last July 2023. But still, we are still in the process of negotiation. It's not yet final. Hopefully, as soon as possible, as long as wala pong ma-violate na law ng ating batas, we will agree. But assuming na may violations of the law, we will not sign any agreement with the TV CGTN. That's why we would like to undertake na yung SMNI, we will follow all the laws and the Philippine Constitution with respect to this agreement.
Okay. Na Mr. Chair, ang kasunod po natin na magiging tanong, no? Dahil ang SMNI, as we have observed, naging part ng kanyang pag-present ng mga balita, whether totoo man o hindi, ay ang pagre-red tag sa iba't ibang mga tao. Mr. Chair, concerned ang ating mga mangingisda na nandyan sa area na malapit sa West Philippine Sea. Dahil sila sa totoo lang, mahal nila ang bayan, tapos ang at stake dyan ay aside sa territory natin, kabuhayan nila. Now, Mr. Chair, they are very bothered with this kind of partnership dahil kapag halimbawa sila ay nagsalita in defense of the West Philippine Sea, paano sila i-cover ng SMNI kung ganon kasama ang tingin, no, sa mga taong nagpapaabot lamang ng kanilang mga hinaing. They fear that if ever lumala ang nangyayari sa West Philippine Sea, baka sila pa ay i-red tag ng SMNI, tatawaging mga kalaban ng bayan, when in fact, what they are doing is actually in service of the goals of our country.
The reply, does that, are you asking for a reply?
Yes.
Attorney Tolentino.
We believe, Mr. Chair, that there is no red tagging. We never practice red tagging, and in fact, wala po sa batas ang red tagging, Mr. Chair.
So, sandali. So, ang sinasabi ho nyo, hindi kayo nag-red tag.
Never.
Then you follow it up by, there is no law
Yes, Mr. Chair.
that describes red tagging.
Yes, Mr.
Or
Chair.
defines red tagging.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, meron na pong mga bahagi ng ating judicial branch na nag-define ng red tagging. We have Associate Justice Marvic Leonen, nandiyan din ang Manila Regional Trial Court. So, Mr. Chair, andyan na rin po ang mga definitions. And, Mr. Chair, isa nga ito sa mga mabibigat na usapin natin kasi itong nangyayaring red tagging, totoo at real siya na nangyayari. So, hindi natin matanggapin hanggang ngayon ay dinedenay ng network na ginagawa niya ito. Kasi napakarami na pong mga independent outlets and even other fact-checking agencies na nagsasabi na nagre-red tag ang SMNI. Halimbawa, Mr. Chair, so actually, maliban dun sa issue nga, di ba, ng pangre-red tag sa mga defenders din ng West Philippine Sea, ay napakarami ding mga usapin pa. For example, Mr. Chair, we have Verifiles, no, na nag-fact check ng isa sa mga claims ni Lorraine Badoy Partosa. Ang sabi po nila ay, for example, we have Jonathan De Santos na isang officer, actually chairperson ng National Union of Journalists of the Philippines, Mr. Chair. So supposedly, if SMNI claims that it is a legitimate media organization, then dapat katuwang niya, no? At pinoprotektahan din niya ang kanyang kapwa media. And right now, they are even appealing to other media outlets to defend its freedom of expression. Pero Mr. Chair, inabuso ng SMNI ang kanyang freedom of expression to the point na pati media ay nire-red tag nila. So, Mr. Chair, meron po ba tayong resource person mula sa, for example, media practitioners natin?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, meron po bang from like media practitioners?
Yes. Yes. Can you already reply? Kasi we will have to move, no? We're still discussing the bill of the Honorable Nograles, the committee report. So we will have to wind up already so that we can move on to the other questions, no? Okay. Yes, please.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Oh, the Honorable
Clarify
Nograles,
lang,
I'm sorry, ma'am.
resolution pa po, hindi po bill yung final ko, resolution po.
Yes.
Resolution po. Sinasabi mo kasi, Mr. Chair, bill, hindi po bill
My
yung final
apologies.
ko.
The resolution authored by the Honorable Nograles. My apologies. We now proceed, please.
Mr. Chair, I was asking if meron pong mga resource person tayo from like media practitioners or media groups.
Please.
Mr. Chair, with all due respect, I will defer the question of the Honorable Raul Manuel to our in-house consultant for broadcast operations, Mr. J. Sonza.
We have in our presence to represent SMNI, Mr. J. Sonza. You have the floor, sir.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chairman. With respect to the things that were explained by the Honorable Congressman from the party list.
Yes, sir.
For as long as there is a jurisprudence and there is an approved law pertaining to red tag, I'm sure any and all media practitioners will follow it. In the meantime, that there are no laws, or what he was mentioning were independent opinions of some associate justices. Mahirap pong pangunahan namin ang ating Supreme Court, ang House of Representatives, ang Senate, na gagawa kami ng bagay na hindi naman naayon as we were simply, if there are, kung meron po kayong naiisip na na-red tag kayo, perhaps it was simply because there were descriptions which were pronounced by the very Anti-Terrorism Council. But it is not because it was a personal or a network practice to red tag you. Pero tinitiyak ko po sa inyo, kapag may batas na bawal yung ganon, susunod po kami. Maraming salamat po.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, to respond and to wind up, we have 3 branches of government. While sa atin po, Mr. Chair, we filed a bill to criminalize red tagging. Pero habang wala pa po yan, hindi ibig sabihin na wala tayong gagawin kapag nangyayari ito. And in fact, kaya natin sinasalang ang mga resolution, ang isang resolution and other resolutions at mga batas, panukalang batas dito. Dahil gusto nating mapanagot ang mga actually supposedly nasa media, pero sila din ay nasa forefront ng red tagging, na ang batayan nito, Mr. Chair, ay maraming kasinungalingan. Kasi napakadaling maghabi ng kasinungalingan. We can have 1,000 versions of lies. Pero ang katotohanan po kasi, Mr. Chair, nag-iisa lang yan. At yan ang mahirap na gawin. At yan ay dapat ipagkatiwala natin sa mga credible media organizations. And as we can see right now, SMNI is a huge exception. Hindi lamang sa journalistic standards, pero sa paano ina-uphold ang katotohanan, Mr. Chair. Kaya with that, given the detrimental effects of what SMNI is doing, hindi lamang sa mga kababayan natin na nagpapahayag, merong mga advocacies, pero may implications na rin sa national sovereignty natin, Mr. Chair, with this partnership na as we can see, parang hindi nga rin talaga lubos na madepensahan dahil tinake down pa ang sarili nilang news item. So that's why kailangan talaga, Mr. Chair, merong managot doon sa mga maling ginagawa. That would be all for now. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Manuel, after that, we will go to the Honorable Gutierrez. But before that, the Chair would like to recognize the new members that entered the hall after the roll call was made. Of course, the Chair would like to recognize the Honorable David J.J. Suarez of the 2nd District of Quezon, the Honorable Edsel Galeos of the 2nd District of Cebu. He is in here already. Of course, I saw the Honorable Jervy Luistro of the 2nd District of Batangas. Welcome, ma'am. The Honorable Daphne Lagon of the 4th District of Cebu. Welcome to my neighbor. The Honorable Jeff Konghun, the 2nd District of Zambales. To the equally good-looking representative of the city of Parañaque, the Honorable Congressman Edwin Olivares. Thank you for coming. Of course, to the Honorable Christian Unabia of the 1st District, Misamis Oriental, and last but not least, to the hardworking honorable member of this council, of this Congress from the 2nd District of Marikina City, who promised to be here after the BICAM, and I hope the budgets have improved, the Honorable Stella Luz Kimbo of the 2nd District of Marikina City. Welcome, ma'am. And of course, yes, I was looking for him early on. The Honorable Alan T. Is he here? Sir, welcome. We now proceed. Who?
Mr. Chair.
Wait, the Honorable David Suarez.
Yeah. Can I just
J.J.
have
Suarez has to rejoin there. Then the Honorable Dan Salvador
Doon lang
will
sa
now have
point
also
na-
another question. Yes.
Thank you. Doon sa point na ni-raise ni Congressman Manuel, I understand it was the president of SMNI. Sir, are you with us today? Yeah. I understand you represented SMNI in Beijing in July this year to talk about the partnership between your two networks. Can you please further elaborate on the details of this partnership between these two networks?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. SMNI has collaborated with China's state TV CGTN following the executives meeting in Beijing, China in July 2023. Nag-usap po kami kasi in-invite po kami nila doon para sa pag-cover ng ASEAN Games. Yun yung parang unang usapan na magkaroon kami ng collaboration, na makahingi kami ng mga videos ng mga palaro doon at maibalita dito sa atin sa Pilipinas. At doon nagmula ang magiging partnership sana na gagawin, pero hindi pa na-finalize hanggang ngayon. So, but for now, hanggang sa video sharing lang po kung ano po ang pinakamagandang balita, may mga breaking news na kailangan malaman po ng mga Pilipino ay binabalita po ng SMNI. Ganun din po kung meron pong mga balita na nasa Pilipinas na gusto ring malaman ng mga Chinese. Ganun din po kasi ang practice ng networks dito sa Pilipinas. In fact, marami pong humingi sa amin ng videos, binibigyan po namin sila as long na mayroong courtesy po ng network na kung saan sila humingi. Ganun din po kami, humingi din po kami sa kanila. Ganun lang po kasimple ang partnership. Wala pong ibang, sa ngayon din po, hindi po naka-finalize at wala pong pinirmahan na mga partnership po. Hanggang verbal agreement lang po, Mr. Chair.
So thank you very much. So Mr. Chair, in other words, wala pa pong dokumentong draft
Wala pa po,
between
Mr.
both
Chair.
parties?
Wala pa po, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I just want to share kasi yung concerns ni Kong Manuel. May lumalabas kasing sa China news na yung mga Pilipino ang naging aggressive sa West Philippine Sea. Binaliktad po nila yung kwento. Iba yung kwento sa kanila doon sa tunay na nangyari sa mga Pilipino. Kaya ito po ay medyo may pangamba din para sa akin. Dahil alam naman natin, di ba, there are always two versions to the story. But you know, as Filipinos, we always have to support that which the Philippine government holds. So thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Before I give it to the Honorable Rog, I just opened the letter now. No, it's addressed to me. This is response to a December 6th invitation for your committee for me to appear on a hearing at its hearing on December 11 at 11 o'clock a.m. I have not been an officer of Swara Sug Media Corporation from the time of the enactment of Republic Act 1442 up to the present. Hence, I must respectfully send my regrets for my absence in the hearing today. Sincerely, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy. Do you confirm that he is not an officer since the renewal of the franchise in 2019? The Honorable Mr. President, Mr. Rosete, hindi po opisyales siya post, kasi inimbitaho namin sa hearing nero na ito si Pastor Kibuloy.
Mr. Chair, hindi po, Mr. Chair.
So, but he owns, may shares po siya sa kumpanya. Establish po natin yun.
Meron ba?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Attorney
May I be recognized?
Suplico, you're recognized.
Your Honor, in 2018, Pastor Apollo owned 1.5% of the stock holdings of Swara Sug Media Corporation. But sometime in 2021, 2022, he donated his shares to the cooperative, which is now cooperative is now listed as a stockholder of Swara Sug Media Corporation as of the filing of the 2023 amended GIS.
When did, in 2020, wala na po ba si Pastor Kibuloy?
2020, he was still a stockholder.
Officer?
No, not an officer, Your Honor, but a stockholder.
Yes.
As to 1.5%.
Correct. 2023 siya nawala eh.
2020, sometime in 2022, Your Honor.
Okay. So, kaya nga, pag-report sa 2023, wala na po yung pangalan niya.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And he has 0 shares in SMNI or Swara
Yes.
Sug?
At the moment, yes, Your Honor.
No shares?
No shares at all.
Okay, under his name?
Yes, Your Honor.
But if he is a member of the cooperative or any other company, then he could still have his shares.
He is not a member of the cooperative, Your Honor.
He's not also a member.
That's
He's
correct.
not also a director of any of the other corporations that are involved in the Seoul. How about the Seoul Corporation?
Yes, Your Honor, he is not.
He's not.
Yes, Your Honor, he is not.
So in any form, shape, or manner, he is not an owner.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Are you feeling better now? Because last hearing, you had to run to the clinic. Are you okay?
Well, I'm monitoring my BP, Your Honor.
Okay, so I hope you're okay.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Your Honor, for the
Thank you.
concern.
Yes.
Just a short
Yes, the
interjection.
Honorable Kimbo.
Yes, in the last hearing, I made a manifestation that based on the GIS, Mr. Apollo Kibuloy was listed as ultimate beneficial owner. I believe until 2021. So can we hear a confirmation
Well, they,
from Attorney Supico?
cons-
Maybe the question is, until when was he
the
ultimate beneficial owner?
Okay. Attorney Rolex Suplico.
Your Honor, I'm holding a copy of the amended GIS for 2023. In the last, he is not a stockholder of record
Oh, that's-
as of this time, Your Honor.
No, earlier, sir. So the question is, until when was he ultimate beneficial owner? So the GIS that I read in the last hearing were, I believe, 2021 and 2022. So ang pinakita po natin was a change in ownership or change in UBO from 2021 to 2022. So sa pagkakaalala ko, as of end 2021, siya po ang nakalista na UBO.
Let me check the record, Your Honor. I
Mr.
wanted
Chair.
to speak
Okay.
based on the record.
I'll go back to you, no? Attorney Suplico.
Thank you, Your
On
Honor.
2 points. One, yung kanina yung sa IT, the turning down of who put down the page, and this issue raised by the Honorable Kimbo. You have to validate also because the documents held by the Honorable Fernandez says hanggang 2020, but your answer to me earlier was 2022. So we would like to know a clear response under oath on this issue. The Honorable Francisco, the Honorable Ramon Gutierrez is recognized. Oh, I'm sorry. The Honorable Franz Castro, then the Honorable Ramon Gutierrez. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Yes. What is the point of honor, the Honorable Dan Fernandez?
Isn't it the policy of the rules of the this committee to have a alternate on the
Yes.
asking
My
of
apologies,
questions?
the Honorable Dan Fernandez, because I'm just following the list of, as I stated earlier, it's the first to register will be acknowledged.
Don't get me
But,
wrong, I don't want to
yes,
undermine
okay.
the minority,
Yes,
but
yes.
it is the policy of this
Yes, so
committee
I
to
will,
have an
yes,
alternate
yes, I would like to give way first to Honorable Franz Castro. Then if the Honorable Gutierrez will give way to you, then we will go for it, okay?
Hindi, kasi
As a
yung-
senior member
Kasi
of
ibang
the...
majority,
kasi mo-
majority are also
because
waiting for their turn.
yeah, but you will have to put your name.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you're not in the list, then I will not be able to determine who's majority and minority. Like, you know, tiyo ko po yan, kaya ko pong sabihin yon. The Honorable Franz Castro is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So ito dapat tatanong ko nung second nung second committee hearing, the rundown of the different cases filed against Lorraine Badoy and also to Lorraine Badoy. Okay? Siguro ang unang tanong ko po, Mr. Chairman, si Attorney Tolentino po ba yung attorney rin or counsel po ni Lorraine Badoy sa lahat ng kaso?
No, Mr. Chair. I've only engaged with respect to this hearing, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So thank you po no. Siguro for the for the information ng ating committee, ira-rundown ko lang po yung ilan sa mga red tagging na ni Lorraine Badoy na nakasampa na ngayon doon sa iba't ibang mga complaint na in relation din po doon kay Representative Pimentel last time. So, nung April 9, about kay Maria Ressa, yung April 19, 2022, this administrative complaint filed by the Office of the Ombudsman, violation of Section 4A of the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards over malicious and defamatory posts and articles against journalists. So, Ressa listed as at least 9 instances when Badoy branded her as an enemy of the state, using his verified Facebook page or through official websites. So Badoy had also falsely declared Rappler as an ally and mouthpiece of the CPP-NPA. So ito po yung isang kaso. Pamilyar po ba kayo doon sa program?
I have no personal knowledge with respect to that case, Mr. Chair.
So wala kayong ano, no? So next, Mr. Chair, another one, Mr. Chair, yung former Kabataan Representative Sara Elago. On December 7, 2022, this is also an administrative complaint, violation of Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for public officials and employees against 6 officials of NTF-ELCAC, including Badoy, filed with the Ombudsman. Badoy and other officials were charged and committed grave misconduct for repeatedly claiming she was a communist rebel and accusing the Progressive Party List group of acting as a front organization for the CPP. So, former Representative Elago argued 6 government officials were acting in official capacity and are guilty of malfeasance when they made claims against her. So, ito rin po, isa rin pong kaso. And then on December 4, 2020, ito po yung kaso ni Lorraine Badoy when she was still a spokesperson of the NTF-ELCAC. 2020 pa po yan. So December 4, 2020, by karapatan, criminal and administrative charges against Badoy, NSC, Hermones Esperon Jr., Antonio Parlade, and Mocha Uson for crime against humanity by persecution under 2009 law incorporating international humanitarian law. So, Karapatan, Secretary General Cristina Palabay said, she and Karapatan had been persistently tagged as terrorist members or supporters of the CPP-NPA by the respondents. So, yan, isa pa. So, ibig sabihin, Mr. Chair, so, eto pong si Lorraine Bador, talagang persistent, consistent po yung mga red tagging na ginagawa. Hindi lang po siya ngayon, sa nakalipas pa, even before ngayon na natin, pinapatawag natin sila, no? So marami pa pong kaso. And then, another case po, sa Supreme Court, October 2022, various lawyers, judges, law practitioners, and their respective organizations. So, the Supreme Court, motu proprio, and the following numerous formal and informal complaints raised to its attention, ordered her to explain why he shouldn't be cited in contempt after her online rants against Judge Magdosa Malagar. Her rants were spurred by decision junking the government's petition to proscribe as terrorists the CPP-NPA. Magdosa Malagar said crimes alleged in the government petition were against the law but did not fall under the terrorism as defined in the HSA. So sinabi po dito sa isang kanyang programa, Mr. Chair, if I kill this judge, and I do so out of my political belief that all allies of the CPP, NPA, and DF must be killed because there is no difference in my mind between a member of the CPP, NPA, and DF and their friends, then please be lenient to me. She has also insinuated that Judge's husband, UP Cebu Chancellor Leo Malagar, has links to CPP, NPA and used to be communist cadre. And days prior, the SC also issued a stern warning against those who continue to incite violence against judges and their families. It said such action will be considered as contempt of court and will be dealt with accordingly. So, sinasabi natin, Mr. Chair, dito, yung about po dun sa mga red tagging. So, meron na po itong, jurisprudence na binanggit po ni Representative Manuel, at meron na rin po itong sa Supreme Court. Okay? Yung tungkol po doon sa desisyon ng Supreme Court na sinulat po ni Justice Leonen. And isa pa po, last na po ito, Mr. Chair, yung Ibon Foundation, February 10, 2020, administrative complaint with the Ombudsman against Badoy, Parlade, and Esperon, further persistent attacks against and red tagging of progressive groups, which the policy research group said violated provisions of Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for public officials and employees, conduct grossly disgraceful of the public interest, unprofessional, unjust, and insincere political bias, unresponsive to the public, distorting nationalism and patriotism. So leading up to the complaint, Badoy, in an episode 1 News, the chief claimed that Ibon was part of the CPP instead of addressing Ibon's concern after in fact check numbers cited in the Duterte legacy campaign. So ito pa po yung mga madadagdag nating mga complaint at kaso po against dito kay Lauren Badoy. So ang meron po akong ilang tanong po dito sa KBP. Nandiyan po ba ang KBP Mr. Chair? Yes, meron pa po akong mga ilan pang question po. Ayun, sinabi ko lang po yung mga mga
Opo.
ilan pang mga kaso, Mr. Chair. So, ito ang kasi doon po sa mga binobroadcast po ng ni Lorraine Badoy at saka ni Eric ni Celis, ni Mr. Celis tungkol doon sa kanilang mga pagsisinungaling, lying, unconfirmed na mga report. So, gusto ko lang po sigurong matanong, maybe it's NTC, KBP, at saka kung meron din po dito ay MTRCB, Mr. Chair. So, ang unang pong tanong, bakit po di pwede ang mga side comments expressing personal opinion sa isang news program? So, pwede po ba ang KBP na sumagot doon?
Mr. Chair, that provision was included in the Code of Ethics of KBP so that the public is not misled between a news and a commentary.
Yes.
So there should be at least a separator between a news item and a commentary, or the person on board specifies that that is a comment. As a disclosure, Mr. Chair, this provision is under review with the KBP because of the changing style of commentators and newscasters. But the important thing is there should be a distinction between a comment and a news item.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So isa pa pong tanong dun po sa tatlong agency natin kung sino po yung mga whether it is true or false, so pwede rin pong explain. So after airing information provided by a confidential source, quote unquote, an effort should be first made to look for a source who can identify or who can elaborate the information provided by the confidential source. So is it is it true or false po?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chair?
may I be allowed to answer the...
Yes, please.
It is good practice to have independent verification. In the verification of news from a informant, it should not be standalone. Ethics demand and good media practice demands that you make an independent verification from sources outside of the informant.
Thank you po sa KBP. And then ito rin po, true or false then, and explain. Rumors or gossips shall not be aired in guise of news, using terms like anonymous source, confidential source, or unknown source shall not justify the airing of rumors and gossips, especially in news program.
That's correct, Your Honors.
So it is true po.
Yes, it is true, Mr. Chair.
Yes, so it is on section 4H article 1 of the news sources po. Tama po. Okay, so when an unconfirmed reports are aired, it must be emphasized that they are unconfirmed. True or false?
That is correct, Your Honors.
Okay. So sa SMNI, so programs intended to malign, unfairly criticize or attack a person, natural or juridical, are prohibited. Tama po.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to manifest, Mr. Chair, that SMNI is not anymore a member of KBP, but we have our own policies, internal policy of our company to follow the highest standard of journalism. In fact, our motto is truth that matters. So that is our motto,
Okay,
Mr. Chair.
so ibig mo sabihin kung hindi ka member ng KBP, so your program can malign, unfairly criticize, or attack a person, natural or juridical.
No, Mr. Chair.
So,
no, Mr. Chair.
Dahil hindi na kayo KBP, sabi mo eh. So
Ah.
ang tanong ko kanina, is it true or false? Programs intended to malign, unfairly, etc. Sinabi mo dahil hindi ka na member.
No,
Although it is in the Section 2, Article 4 on personal attack.
Even though, Mr. Chair, that we are not part anymore of KBP, we have our own standard of journalism, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Interjection.
Clear that they just withdrew their KBP accreditation after the first hearing.
Yeah, yes.
Before the second hearing, or on the day of the second hearing. So, that's, please take note of that, those dates, okay? And this hearing commenced or started, they were still members of the KBP. Thank you. Yes, please proceed with your line of questioning, the Honorable Frank. Are you done? Kong Gutierrez?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With the indulgence of my colleague.
Please proceed.
Short interjection. First of all, I agree, Mr. Chair, precisely the point I wanted to raise the first, that despite the withdrawal from membership from the KBP, this does not excuse the SMNI for they have been bound during their membership, and all of these instant cases were during that period. But that aside, Mr. Chair, another thing that we'd like to bring up, I believe during the last hearing, I think it was Congresswoman Stella Kimbo, who requested the Manual of Operations, Code of Ethics, and everything that came to follow. Mr. Chair, may we confirm with the officers of SMNI if they have submitted the same before this committee?
Attorney Tolentino.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have with me the manuals of operation, including, Mr. Chair.
No. Have you submitted, the question was, have you submitted that to the committee secretary?
Not yet, Mr. Chair. We will submit now, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, unfortunately, we wanted to have that right away so that we can study before coming to this hearing. How are we going to make use of that very thick, voluminous document in today's hearing kung ngayon lang po sinasubmit? That is our concern, Mr. Chair. And I believe there are other documents that this committee requested last hearing that have not been submitted. So that's something that we most respectfully want to ask the COMSEC to review, no?
Actually,
Just those 2 points. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much,
Actually, Mr. Chair, we
the
promised.
Honorable Ramon Gutierrez. Anyway, can you please just submit those documents?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And may we ask the page to please get those documents already today? And the other documents that were requested from you, so that we can review. If we will have to call even a hearing, remember, I already have the permission to conduct hearings even during the Christmas break. So,
Mr. Chair, I'd like
if
to-
you do not submit, Attorney Tolentino, we will call you on December 25, okay? For a hearing.
Mr. Chair,
And
I'd like
Attorney
to-
Rolex Suplico, okay?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to put on record that we are submitting right now, Mr. Chair,
Okay.
the code of, the manual of operation of SMNI. Second, Mr. Chair, all the contracts of all our co-production contracts.
Okay.
And block timers, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
And third, Mr. Chair, we're also submitting the contract of advertisements
Okay.
of all the contracts of SMNI. with
Is that all in the
advertisement.
folder that you're submitting?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Page, please retrieve the folder, and we will review, and we will give soft and hard copies to all members of this committee, including the Honorable Ramon Gutierrez, who is very particular with the contracts and the operations manual.
Mr. Chairman.
With the Honorable Stella Kimbo. Are you done, the Honorable Franz Castro? Kasi po,
Meron pa po,
si Honorable Dan
No,
Fernandez.
I'll be asking as well, Mr. Chairman, in relation to what the
okay. The Honorable Dan.
the gentleman,
Yes.
I mean Attorney Mark Tolentino, they have submitted also the service agreement, with the different
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
sponsors.
Andyan na po.
But have you submitted also the official receipts and different invoices that together with all these agreements?
It was not part of our, but we will submit that, Mr. Chair.
I remember in the
Okay.
last time we asked for the submission of all this document as well.
Receipt of.
Yes, the
Mr. Chair,
invoices
including
and
in the
the,
contract, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I know. But
Maybe
for us to
if-
find out
yes.
if they are totally paid or not yet, invoices pa lamang binibigay nyo. So we need that document as well.
Okay, so
Yes,
please
Mr. Chair, we
submit.
will submit that within the day,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Okay,
Okay.
the order is we will request SMNI to comply with the request of the Honorable Dan Fernandez. Ma'am, you still have the floor.
Yes, thank you sa clarification, Mr. Chair. Mahalaga
Opo.
itong tanong ko na ito dahil pinapakita natin dito yung responsibility po ng SMNI sa kanyang mga whether it is black timer, whether it is their talent, ay may responsibility sila na sumunod po doon sa tamang mga rules natin, O kung di man sila kasama doon sa KBP, so itong babanggitin ko at ipapakita ko mamaya na situation at program nila ay before naman na yan na matanggal sila sa KBP. Pero hindi ibig sabihin dahil tanggal na sila sa KBP, hindi sila magpa-follow ng yung tamang tamang pagbo-broadcast.
Opo.
Okay? So kaya nga tinanong ko dito, sinabi ko kanina, true or false, programs intended to malign, unfairly criticize, or attack a person, natural or juridical, are prohibited. Okay? Although nandiyan yan dun sa KBP, So is it true or false? Kasama din ba yan doon sa nyo?
Yes, Attorney Tolentino.
Attorney Tolentino.
Stand, Mr. Chair, although we are not anymore a member of KBP, we have our own standard of ethics, we have our own standard of journalism, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah,
ano nga
kasi-
yung standards ninyo as regards the program that intend to malign, unfairly criticize, or attack a person, natural or juridical?
In compliance with our promise, Mr. Chair, we had with me also the manual of operation, Mr. Chair, that we are going to submit today to the Honorable Committee, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Okay, kasi
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, itong sinasabi ko kanina na standard na hindi dapat ginagawa. Before, alam ba, sa akin, sa organization or even din kay the Congress, yung tungkol doon sa tungkol doon sa travel, etc. So kailangan ay makita natin yung ng SMNI as regards to this. Itong mga sinasabi nating pagmamalain. Okay.
Opo.
Meron po akong last na, Mr.
Opo.
Chair.
Salamat po.
Maipakita ko lang sa inyo yung isang program nila, yung Laban sa Bayan, kaugnay dun sa pagmamalain
May
sa
video
akin.
po tayo.
Yes, at
Can we
pagbibigay
air
sa
the
akin ng
videos?
Yan.
Can we air the video as requested by the Honorable Castro? Please dim the lights if needed. Thank you. Kiboloy. Yeah.
Meron yatang Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair, meron yatang technical problem?
We go back. Meron problema ba yung video ho ni the Honorable Castro?
Yes, oo.
Meron.
Mr. Chair,
Ma'am.
sige, in the interest of time.
Yes, ma'am. Pwede mo natin ayusin muna, tapos balik na tayo dito.
Yes, oo.
Round
Pakita
two,
na
ha?
natin. Pero hindi pa
Kasi-
ako sinasagot no. After siguro nung video na 'yon, sagutin
Opo.
ako.
Opo.
Na kahit na yung internal nila, nakalagay ba yun sa yung tinatanong ko kanina.
Okay.
Yung pagmamalain, unfairly criticize, i-attack ang person,
Opo.
natural or juridical.
Pag
Di pa ako
naayos
natat-
yung video, balikan namin kayo sa round 2. Thank you very much,
Okay,
Honorable
thank-
Castro.
thank
Pero
you,
kailangan
Mr.
kasi pupunta tayo kay Congressman Nograles kasi
Okay,
marami
okay.
pa akong magtatanong.
Thank you,
Pero alam po ninyo, napakabait ni Kong Dan Fernandez. Napapahuli na raw siya. Magbibigay daan muna siya kay may papasok po si Congresswoman Kimbo.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Housekeeping lang po.
Yes.
This pertains to the letter of
Opo.
Pastor Kibuloy, which you read earlier. So, dito po, he mentions that he had not, well, according to him, he had not been an officer of the corporation from the time of the enactment of RA 11422, which was in 2019. And this is the reason for why he says he should be excused from this hearing. However, Mr. Chair, so first of all, based on our records, as of 2021, he was listed as ultimate beneficial owner, and that's based on the documents submitted to us. And as we know, ultimate beneficial owner means that he effectively controls a corporation. Of course, he can argue that may technicality, hindi pa rin yun officer, but gayon pa man, ibig sabihin nun, marami siyang kaalaman being having effective control over the corporation. Number two, pwede ba natin malaman, so sa ngayon po, ang executive pastor ay si Pastor Acobo, tama ba?
Can I answer that, Mr. Chair? Yes. Yes, Mr. Chair.
Prior to him, sino po ang executive pastor?
Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, Mr. Chair.
At nagpalit sila noong December 19, 2022, tama
Yes,
po ba?
Mr. Chair.
Okay, so in which case, si Pastor Kibuloy ay executive pastor up to December 19, 2022. Tama po?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, in which case, Mr. Chair, ibig sabihin nun, parang mini-mislead yata tayo ng sulat na to. Kasi even after the enactment of the franchise agreement, siya pa rin po ay officer ng corporation,
Mr.
being
Chair?
the executive pastor until December 19, 2022.
Can I explain to that, Mr. Chair? There is a legal concept with respect to corporation sole. A corporation sole, usually this is a corporation with respect to religious organizations. If you are the chief executive minister, you're holding the properties of a church as a trustee of the church. The real owner of the church is actually the members of the church. In fact, that is based on Section 108 of the Revised Corporation Code, Mr. Chair. So that is corporation code, corporation sole, different from one-person corporation or an ordinary corporation.
Mr. Chair, hindi naman po ito korte.
Opo.
Ang
Yes,
purpose naman po ng hearing.
Attorney Tolentino, ang tanong ho niya is, I mean, wag ho tayo kasi we're talking of sole corporation, wag ho tayo umikot-ikot masyado sa officers. We're talking of UBO. Ultimate Beneficial
Owner who has effective control over the
yes,
corporation.
that is the question of the Honorable
Yes, in which case, Mr.
Honorable
Chair,
Stella.
which means that he has sufficient information
Opo.
and therefore may kakayahan po siya to shed light on the matter
Anong pag
at hand.
UBO
So,
kayo,
in
alam
which
niyo na.
case, Mr. Chair, sa akin lang po is we must insist that that he appears before us.
You know
So,
why?
yun lang po, Mr. Chair.
Alam po ninyo, Attorney, ganito yan. In the letter kasi, sabi niya, nung nirenew yung frankisa niya noong December 19, 2019, hindi na raw siya officer. Yun ang sulat. Ang tanong niya, he may not be an officer, but he is still the UBO.
He was never an officer of SMNI. Mr.
Correct. No, but nakalagay nga ron. Pero now, he is still the UBO. So he's invited being the UBO. So in the next hearings, we will now, I mean, the records that you have submitted to the committee shows that he is and was the UBO until 2022 before the
Can I explain, Mr.
so
Chair?
hindi po siya mali, hindi ho tugma dun sa sulat ho na binigay niya. Yun ang point of the council ni Congresswoman Stella Kimbo. Hindi po siya tumutugma because ang importante ho dito, sino po talaga may-ari nito? We're looking at the ultimate beneficial owner. No?
I think, Mr. Chair, the best person to answer is the lawyer of Pastor Kibuloy.
Who
He's
is?
here, Mr. Chair.
Oh, now you're not anymore the lawyer. You are the
I'm
lawyer,
the lawyer
of...
of SMNI, Mr. Chair, not
Okay.
the lawyer of Pastor Kibuloy.
Is she here?
Yes, she is
Ma'am,
here, Mr. Chair.
please state your name.
Good
Yes.
afternoon to our esteemed members, to
Yes.
our chairman and esteemed members
Yes,
of the Committee
yes.
on Disciplinary Access. I am Attorney Antoinette Principe. I am the counsel and representative of Pastor Quiboloy, and I was tasked specifically to furnish this honorable committee with that letter that you have read a while ago, Your Honor.
Okay. So my questions, wait, before that, were you present in the previous hearings?
No, Your Honor, because my engagement is only for today's hearing.
Okay, maybe we ask you to please rise, so I ask the COMSEC to administer the oath.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this congressional inquiry, so help you God? Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for serving the letter, which now has opened another set of questions. And the position of the Honorable Kimbo is that there's an inconsistency of the content of the letter and now the documents that you've submitted before this committee, especially in the GIS of 2022 and 2023. She's now going into, there's a comparison. Can you
Yes,
please reply? Is it inconsistent or not?
Your Honor, I'm afraid I'm not able to answer that question intelligently because when I had a meeting with Pastor Quiboloy last December 8th, we only had a very brief discussion. He received the letter which came from this committee on the evening of December 7, and we had a very short meeting on December 8th. And inasmuch as it was a very long weekend holiday, he does not have the documents. He has no access to such documents, so we cannot answer that intelligently, Your Honor.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
My question is, Honorable Paduano, who can answer the question? I mean, if the lawyers of SMNI cannot answer, and you cannot answer, then who will now answer the questions raised by the Honorable Kimbo?
Mr. Chairman.
Attorney Tolentino.
I think, Mr. Chair, if the committee will allow, can we ask the SEC, Mr. Chair, to explain what is that corporation sold all about?
Mr.
Wait,
Chairman.
no.
Mr. That
There's
is not the
something-
matter being discussed, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman.
wait. The Honorable Paduano, the Honorable Kimbo, are you going to give way to the Honorable Paduano?
yes,
Because she has the floor. The Honorable Paduano
Thank you,
is
Mr. Chairman.
recognized.
Mr. Chairman, the lawyer, Pastor Quiboloy is present. But yung trabaho nila is to just submit to us the letter of, to the interpretation of this committee. And I think sinabi niya wala siyang knowledge. And the letter of Pastor Quiboloy, it's up to the committee if we will accept or not. Diba? And we cannot question the details from the lawyer because in the first place, ang sagot niya, hindi niya may detalye, hindi lamang detalye. So, Mr. Chairman, it's up to the committee, to the chair, to decide whether in the next hearing we still invite Pastor Quiboloy.
Yes,
Because
so-
it's up to us to decide.
Okay, thank you very much. We will decide on that later. Thank you very much, Honorable Paduano. So, because the only reason why I acknowledged you, ma'am, was because Attorney Tintino said to acknowledge, requested that you will answer the questions being raised by the Honorable Kimbo. Now, you can't also answer the same questions being raised by the Honorable Kimbo. So,
Yes, I will just.
so we're still left in a quandary as to his being the UBO, which we're really interested in. No? The Honorable
Yes,
Kimbo
Mr.
is
Chair, I will
recognized.
simplify my questions,
Yes.
just based on the letter. The letter says, I have not been an officer of the corporation from the time of the enactment of the RA, so that's 2019. Hence, I must respectfully send my regrets for my absence in the hearing today. So, ang sinasabi ba dito sa liham ay dahil hindi daw siya officer, wala siyang sufficient na information and therefore, hindi na siya a-appear ngayong araw. Yun bang ibig sabihin nun? Ipaliwanag niyo lang.
Yes,
Yun
may I be
yun ang
allowed
logic.
to-
Yes or no lang?
Yes or no lang?
Para madali.
Yes or no?
Yes, because he's not an officer, and
Ayun,
the
yun na nga.
invitation states
So tama, it has
specifically-
to do with not having sufficient information.
Yes, Your
correct.
Honor.
Okay. However, it is very clear, based on our documents, and I will furnish you a copy, that he is, or he was, ultimate beneficial owner at least up to April 29, 2021, which is beyond the enactment of the RA, which is 2019. Okay? And as ultimate beneficial owner, he has effective control over the corporation. Now, will you agree with me that having effective control over a corporation, would you have sufficient information about the corporation?
With due respect to the chair.
Yes or no only. If
With
you have
due respect-
effective control over a corporation, any corporation, if person X has effective control over corporation Y, does person X have sufficient information about corporation Y?
With due respect to the chairman and members of the committee, as I said, the engagement of Pastor Quiboloy to this representation was solely
I am
to-
asking about person X and corporation Y.
Again, I am not privy to that specific matter,
Mr.
Your
Chair,
Honor.
our attorney is not being responsive. So
You were introduced as the lawyer of Pastor
Only
Quiboloy. Just to deliver, are you trying to tell me that you were sent here, ma'am, just to deliver the letter to the
Yes, Your
chairman?
Honors.
That's the only thing? You're not
Because,
supposed to answer any question?
Yes, Your Honor, because the Pastor Quiboloy respects the proceedings, today's proceedings, despite the very short period of time he was given when he received the invitation. As a show of respect to this committee, he wanted to have someone personally deliver the letter.
Okay, so she
saying
was
his
just here
regrets.
just to deliver the letter.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Attorney Suplico, can you answer the questions as SMNI lawyer? Since this is an SMNI affair.
Well, Your Honor, in our records, specifically the amended GIS for 2023, his name does not appear.
Well, that is also, Mr. Chair, let me point out one thing that we also uncovered when we were comparing documents with the SEC. It turns out that the submission to Congress is different from the submission to the SEC. So ito pong submission ng GIS to Congress, which has the beneficial ownership declaration, ito pong binasa ko, ito po ay wala po dun sa submission sa SEC. Kaya nagtaka po ang SEC. Sabi nila, bakit, well, we can ask the SEC to verify that. But yun po ang naging...
Who is the beneficial owner in the SEC records? May I ask the SEC?
For 20...
Attorney,
For the April 29, 2021 submission, can you double-check your documents and see if it has a beneficial owner declaration?
yes, Mr. Blanco?
Yes, Your Honor. The repository of the submissions of the GIS, which contains ultimate beneficial owners, is with the EIPD. But we confirm, Mr. Chair, that and we have accessed the documents that are with the Honorable Kimbo, and we confirm that.
What do you confirm?
We confirm that from 2020 to 2022, the declaration in those documents, ultimate beneficial owner for Suarasug was Pastor Quiboloy po.
So you're saying that
I stand corrected, Mr. Chair, 2020 po, 2020.
I'm sorry, from 20, can you please repeat? Attorney you're a lawyer, right? Attorney
Yes,
Yes.
yes, Mr. Chair.
Attorney
Padilla.
Padilla. Yes. Are you confirming what? This from what date again? Can you please repeat the dates?
Until 2020, Mr. Chair,
He was.
the ultimate beneficial owner.
How about
Because-
2020, 2021, 2022? They are not. He was not anymore.
Not anymore, Mr. Chair.
Sir Chair,
The Honorable Kimbo.
in 2021, exactly on April 29, 2021, they submitted exactly the same
Who?
thing.
SMNI.
SMNI,
Okay. And
declaring the same,
that
that Pastor Quiboloy
is still.
was the ultimate beneficial owner.
So, yes, Attorney Padilla.
So it would appear, Mr. Chair, that the Honorable Kimbo is correct, that we have different documents.
What
See,
I was saying
see.
earlier.
So now there's that confirmation that the document submitted before the SEC is different from the document submitted before this honorable committee for the information of SMNI. I don't think that's something that can be refuted anymore unless you will say that you had the, I mean, what can you say?
Maybe, Mr. Chair, may pagkakamali sa pag-file sa House of Congress. But based on our record, Mr. Chair, in only 2020,
These are notarized documents, attorney. Ha?
yes, maybe
So we
there is-
will call now the notary public. Ha? We will go there. Baka umabot to tayo na New Year dito, attorney.
But based on
Question.
our record, Mr. Chair, Pastor Apollo Sikiboloy is the beneficial owner only in 2020 because he is the trustee of a corporation sole, the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ.
Correct.
Because
Anyway.
per description of the SEC, Mr. Chair, letter B, D, and I, Mr. Chair, only natural person should be included in the beneficiary. That's why the name of Apollo Kibolo was there. But
Okay.
actually, our intent is that the corporation sole, the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, who is the trustee, is Pastor Apollo Sikiboloy. And he is not the trustor or the real owner, Mr. Chair.
Well, I mean, you know, we can jumble the whole thing, but you know, the bottom line is who is the UBO? No, the UBO is very clear, no? And the SEC has stated that earlier. The Honorable Kimbo, anyway, Honorable Kimbo, we will continue with the line. Are you willing
Yes.
to give in already? Do you still have a question?
No, I'm just saying that these are notarized documents. And
Yes.
so the April 29, 2021 notarized GIS clearly states the UBO is Pastor
And that
Kibuloy.
there's
And then-
now,
And my bottom line, Mr. Chair, is simply that let's, taking away all of these legalistic
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
concepts. Right? All, bottom line lang naman is that meron naman siyang sufficienteng kaalaman. Ang gusto lang naman talaga natin is to
The
shed
truth.
light on the matter. Yun lang po, Mr.
I
Chair.
just would like to ask a question.
Ganun lang
ha?
kasimple.
Ano lang diretso lang ang sagot, attorney.
yes, Mr. Chair.
Iba yung sinabi nyo sa SEC. Ibang sinabi nyo sa committee. Ano po totoo doon?
Yung totoo po, yung sa SEC po.
So fake ho yun nandito.
Hindi man fake po. Maybe nagkamali yung nag-file po.
Hindi totoo. Maraming salamat po. Thank you. Doon lang po tayo, ha?
Another,
Salamat
Mr. Chair,
po.
can I
Thank you.
explain?
Okay.
But nonetheless, 2020 is still beyond 2019,
Yes.
which is the enactment.
I
of
know
the
what,
RA.
you know, maski paano ho natin i-justify yan, iba pa rin po yung sinasabi po sa sulat, iba rin po yung yun ang punto ho ni the Honorable Kimbo. But we will go back to that, ha?
Chair, may I be recognized?
Yes, the Honorable Toby Tiangco before the Honorable Dan Fernandez.
Mr. Chair,
I just would like to emphasize that this is, I've been allowing all of these interpretation questions to shed light before we go to the discussion. We're already discussing the bill of the resolution of the Honorable Nograles, but we would just like to get some clarification, especially issues that were not raised in the last hearing before we go into the vote of the committee report. Yes, the Honorable Toby Tiangco.
Mr. Chair, it's not as simple as sinasabi po ni Attorney Tolentino na nagkamali because these are both sworn statements.
Correct.
So meron isa doon na nagsinungaling.
Correct.
Very simple. We cannot take it as na nagkamali.
Correct.
So I just want to manifest that, Mr.
Thank you
Chair.
very much, Honorable Toby Tiangco.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I
Mr.
move
Chair,
that
can I
we-
just manifest something
Wait,
as well?
ladies first. The Honorable Kimbo.
I move that we invite the Pastor Apollo Kibuloy
We will.
to the next hearing.
We will re-invite.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The Honorable J.J. Suarez, the Honorable Dan Fernandez.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just want to share the sentiments of Congressman Chanco regarding this revelation. Hindi po pwede na iba yung sinasubmit nyo sa SEC tapos iba yung sinasubmit nyo dito sa Congress. Because it's supposed to be one and the same. Those are sworn affidavit, notarized documents. And then you have just now admitted na nagkamali kayo ng submission dito. So on that point, Mr. Attorney Tolentino, again, that puts a lot of question on the truthfulness of the documents that you are submitting to the House of Representatives, which may tarnish the very franchise that you hold. Kasi ito po ang pinagbabasihan namin. Tapos when we discovered recently with SEC that you have just confirmed these two documents are actually different.
Mr. Chair, can I see the document, Mr. Chair? Can we check the document?
Yes,
Compare?
we will be, can you please, Comsec, you're directed to give a copy to to Attorney Tolentino. Now we recognize from Laguna the Honorable Dan Fernandez.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Finally. Mr. Chairman, I was asking for, in the last hearing, we asked Attorney Tolentino about the documents pertaining to the 2022 service, quiet mo pare, service contract, invoices,
Silence is requested. The Honorable Dan Fernandez is speaking.
yeah, and all of the official receipts that was issued by SMNI in relation to all your revenues collection, and at the same time the different schedule expenses that had been released by SMNI. Unfortunately, Mr. Chairman, when I read these documents that they have submitted just now, it only pertains to 2023 and not on 2022. Thereby, we will be having problem with what we have discussed recently. I hope that you're listening, Attorney Mark. So, can we kindly show yung issues that I am pertaining to? Siguro, yung pong 2022 kasi, tinanong ko na po ito nung last hearing. At tinanong po namin kung saan po nanggaling yung breakdown ng revenue po ninyo noong 2022. Kasi kumita po ang Suwarosug ng 105 million noong pong 2022.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So, ang sabi nyo, walang kinita ang pulso ng bayan doon, right? Walang sponsor. And the very reason why we cite Mrs. Badoy for lying is based on these revenues. And if we're going to move for a PERU, no, and not seeing in these documents those she mentioned in the last hearing pertaining to all those advertisers, we will be constrained to put her in the detention. Kasi nga, talaga nagsisinungaling siya. Dahil dito sa sinubmit nyo, I haven't seen Attorney Mark Tolentino. Wala akong nakita dito pertaining to the subject advertisers that she mentioned in the last hearing.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
we have no program Pulso ng Bayan, Mr. Chair.
Meron tayo morning, pero
Only morning. Laban Kasama ng Bayan is the program of Badoy and kay Eric, not Pulso ng Bayan, Mr. Chair.
Okay, doon sa Laban ng Bayan, she mentioned 3 sponsors, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair, but based on my information, she has no personal knowledge with that, Mr. Chair.
So in other words, wala kayong sponsor doon.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So she was lying indeed. Dahil sinabi niya meron, and you told us na wala.
Based
And that's
on
the reason why we cite her for contempt. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr.
So,
Chair.
yeah, okay. So, in other words, kino-confirm pa rin ng mga dokumentong to na talagang wala na sponsor yung programa na kung saan siya ang host.
That's why I answered, Mr. Chair, in our last hearing, Mr. Chair, that there was no advertisement, Mr. Chair.
Okay, okay. So, indeed,
So I
we were
tried to
correct
correct,
in us citing her for contempt.
I tried
Okay.
to correct, Mr. Chair, Dr. Lorraine, Mr. Chair, in her answer.
All right. Now, Attorney Tolentino, we asked for the documents sa 2023. Makikita po ninyo dyan, pakibalik lang yung slide. Kasi may revenue kayo ng 90 million, 105 million.
2022, Mr. Chair.
2022, oo. And trying to read yung inyo pong documents that were submitted, 13 contracts to na sinubmit nyo po ngayon. Total of 6.25 million ang totality nitong contract na to. So, if you're going to assess yung pong 2022, paano po kayo nag-arrive sa 90 million na revenue? Para lamang po sa inyo pong mga programa.
Based on my personal knowledge, Mr. Chair.
No, we're not asking your personal knowledge. What we're asking for is the documents that we asked in the last hearing. And precisely the reason why we asked for it,
Because we wanted to find out saan ang galing tong perang ito.
That's why, Mr. Chair, we will submit that within the day, Mr. Chair, with respect to the receipt,
Yes,
Mr.
you
Chair.
submitted is an agreement on 2023, not on 2022. We're asking for the 2022, 2021, but you gave us 2023. And today, paano namin, well, mabuti na lang, nabasa ko yung 13. Nakuha ko yung total, 6.25. Meron kayong kontrata, 100, 900, 135, total ng 6.25 million for the year 2023. We are talking about 2022.
Mr.
And the
Chair.
total ng 2022 is 105 million. Explain to us, yan ang sinasabi ko. Explain to us the scheduled expenses and revenue that you have undergone. Kasi hindi po natin mako-comprehend kung saan ang galing tong perang to. And as long as you are keeping those documents, there is a presumption that this money came from a polluted source. Give us the benefit of the doubt that that does not come from a polluted source.
Yes, Mr.
Otherwise, we will be construed to think that this is something that came from that.
Mr. Chair, the best person to answer that is our CFO, Mr. Chair.
Who is the CFO?
Ms. Bing Ayon, Mr. Chair.
Is she here?
Ms. Bing, andito po kayo. Please reply. Andito po siya. Kayo din po.
Mr. Chair, unfortunately, she tested positive for COVID yesterday.
Mr. Chairman,
and there was a letter.
So, okay.
It seems that you are evading this kind of questioning regarding the source of your revenue. And we really don't want to mention words that is so hurtful. Dahil kung titingnan mo to, at bibigyan nyo kami ng agreement like this, 13 agreements na hindi nagmamatch doon sa 90 million o sa 105 million per se, it's hard for us to analyze. Di ba? And even the BIR, they are basing your taxable amount based on your audited financial statement. They are not basing on the detailed Kasi detalye ang hinihingi namin, but you're not giving us the detailed. And we cannot really compute. Even your salaries, yung production tingnan niyo yung program and production expenses nyo ng 2022, nag-jump siya ng 15 million. Explain to us. Saan nagpunta yung pera, saan nyo ginamit yung perang yan from 1.3, suddenly nag-jump kayo ng 15 million.
Mr. Chair, I just received with me, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
the Suarasug Media Corporation's sales journal, Mr. Chair. Can I submit this to the Honorable Committee, Mr. Chair?
O yan, kaya nga, the same thing, isasubmit nyo ngayon. Paano ko na mababasa yan? Hindi na ako magtatanong. So, anyway,
received it
isubmit
today,
nyo na
Mr.
rin po sa amin. So, magiging basis na rin po namin yan. And can we ask the BIR? Andito naman po ang BIR, yung RD79, please. Hindi, wala nga raw yung CFO nila
Okay.
We have invited the CFO
You know,
in the last hearing. The CFO is not here.
Attorney, I mentioned the CFO last hearing. The records and the
She
video
is
will bear
willing
me
to
out.
come here, Mr. Chair, but
She's sick.
we received a...
Okay, can we have our medical certificate? Please
I
submit
have
to
with
the
me.
committee. Thank you.
Hindi, we asked na lang
Okay.
the chairman, yung presidente. Sino ba ang presidente? Probably may
Presidente,
knowledge po sila.
kaya niyo pong sagutin yung tanong.
Sige,
At,
sir.
Mr. Rosete, sagutin niyo po yung tanong ni Congressman Dan Fernandez.
Sir, tanong lang po namin muna doon sa 105 million. From 2021, 45, tapos suddenly nag-jump kayo ng 105 million. Ano po yung mga sponsor that you got for the programs that you have produced? Ano-ano po yung malalaking mga sponsor that you have contracted with?
Okay. With all due respect, Mr. Chair, I will answer the question with according to my knowledge only. 2022 po is election period po. Marami pong pumasok na political ads. Meron po kami mga AVPs. Meron pong, yung time na yun po, hindi pa po nati-take down yung social media na kung saan nag-i-income din po. At yung tanong po ni Honorable Congressman Dan Fernandez about sa expenses po, lumaki po siya, nag-jump off po ng hanggang 15 million. Dahil po nag-sponsor po ang SMNI News Channel ng pinakamagandang debate sa buong Pilipinas. 4 po yun na debates. Wala po yung bayad sa lahat ng pumasok doon. Mahal po ang Okada. So doon po napunta ang mga expenses. Hanggang doon lang po ang alam ko po na mga Mr. Chair.
Okay, salamat po. How about the commission? Kasi meron akong nakita rito, 2.6 million na yung commission. Parang, hindi ko alam ano pa itong commission na to.
Kasi po, meron pong nag-sponsor, tapos meron po silang agent.
So yun ang commission nila.
May commission po
Punta
sila.
tayo sa susunod na page. Tingnan lang po natin yung susunod na slide. Pero submit to us, all the documents pertaining doon sa expenses nyo for the salaries
Yes po,
program
Mr. Chair.
and production expense. Dito lang, medyo napansin ko lang yung advertising and promotion nyo. Meron kayong ginastos na 12.1 million. Samantalang ng 2021, 810 lang yung ginastos nyo. So what is this 12.1 million sa advertising and promotions niyo? Do you advertise SMNI? So gumagamit pa po kayo ng advertisement and promotion for this purpose? What is this all about?
Mr. Chair, hindi ko po masagot yung exact na tanong po.
Okay.
Kasi wala pa akong...
Yung sa fuel and oil naman po ninyo, konti lang naman to, Mr. Chairman. Fuel and oil, nag-jump siya suddenly from 2.6 to 7.9 million. Do you have other source of transportation like helicopter or
No
jet?
po, kasi po, nung time na yon nagkaroon po kami ng additional na marked vehicle po para sa...
Pero, Mr. Chairman, no, yung gantong kalaki na jump from 2.6 to 7.9 is not believable kung ang gagamitin nyo po lamang ay mga vehicle na ordinary sasakyan. That is not possible with this, no? Well, I'm just saying, ano? So submit us to us as well yung mga lahat po ng receipt. Well, actually, job yan ng BIR. I think the BIR should issue a letter of authority to start the investigation on submit of getting all these documents. Huh? Wala BIR? Again? We asked them twice, right?
No, this is the first time we invited him.
At once, okay. So, sir, yun lang po pagdating po dito sa pagdating po sa yan sa business expense nyo, suddenly nagkaroon po kayo ng business expense. What is this also? Yung 3 point something. Ayan, makikita mo nyo sa business expense po ninyo. Meron kayo dyan bigla kayo nagkaroon ng 3.2 something there. Ano po ba yan?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, talagang hindi ko po alam yung...
All right. I think, Mr. Chair, the problem is the submission of all these documents, ano? So we will be asking na lang po siguro to ask the BIR para at least masimpina lahat ng mga documents. If we are having a hard time for the SMNI to submit to us all these documents, I think it's incumbent upon the authority that was given to BIR to issue a LOA, no? Para sa ganun po makita po natin yung mga documents na to. I don't know what to do with this, Mr. Chairman. We're having a hard time trying to figure it out. Kung paano po namin may babalansi po yung mga revenues nyo and mga expenses ninyo. But there will always be a presumption, no, that this money is being used in here are coming from a different kind of sources. So, debunk us. I-debunk nyo po kami para at least we will be thinking that this money came from a source that is good, not a bad source. Kasi nga, yun ang magiging presumption po namin dito eh. Hanggang hindi nyo po ipinakikita sa amin itong lahat ng ito, hindi po natin malalaman kung saan yung revenue nyo sa kaya expenses nyo. Am I right, attorney?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yan. So, one more thing, Mr. Chairman, no? Yung Bampibus po na Capital Holdings Incorporated, kasi what is the primary purpose of this holding company? Sige. Okay. Second round? Gagalit na si Migs. Okay. Okay, so with the indulgence of of my colleagues here, siguro i-reserve ko na lang po yung katanungan sa susunod na lang po at
Ng BAR.
nagsalita na
Yes.
si Chairman, and with respect to our sponsor na resolution, so I'll be heading to the next line of questioning in the next round. Maraming po salamat, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much,
And,
Honorable
again,
Fernandez.
sana po may submit na po finally sa atin. No? But we're giving them another week para isubmit po lahat yung documents.
Thank you very much.
Ha?
Okay. We will be calling you again. The next speaker, the Honorable Ramon Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, my line of questioning in relation to this House reso filed by Congresswoman Nograles would have supposedly revolved around Mr. Celis and Ms. Badoy, but understandably, they're not here given the other matters that they have to
Yes.
attend to. So, Mr. Chair, in that case, I guess we'll have to make do if we may ask is Attorney Tolentino still serving as counsel for them today?
Yes, Mr. Chair, together with Attorney Rolex Suplico.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask the lead convener, si Attorney Domingo of MAD, if they could quickly just give us a rundown of the pending cases. I believe this was touched upon last time, but just to refresh our memories, may we know, Mr. Chair, if there are pending cases of fake news, red tagging, libel against Mr. Celis and si Ms. Badoy.
Thank you, Congressman. I was not actually recognized by the ComSec when she mentioned the resource
Yes.
persons. So,
Yeah. Our apologies.
Am I recognized right now?
Yes, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, the common denominator here of all these cases that we had filed, we are the movement against disinformation, we are representing certain complainants.
Yes, sir.
Would be the red tagging, no?
Opo.
While there is no judicial definition of what red tagging is,
Correct.
but other statutes would cover red tagging in its own, no?
Yes, Attorney Domingo.
By definition, red tagging is actually the malicious blacklisting of people or individuals or organizations that are against the present administration or the other party in the political arena, no? So that would be essentially the definition. So what we did was, Your Honor, we filed cases, for example, in the case of Kadapan, who was the co-eds of the University of the Philippines who were murdered by General Palparan. The SMNI was used as a vehicle for the interview of that General Palparan without even the authorization of the DOJ. That was already finally resolved, that the DOJ did not have any authority, did not give the authority to give that kind of interview on SMNI.
Yes.
Okay. Now, there are other certain cases, but what I'd like to highlight here is the case of Mrs. Badoy lambasting wholesale the Judge Malagar who issued that decision not proscribing the NPA-NDF as terrorist organization. This actually is rooted in the independence of the judiciary. If you red tag the judge who is adjudicating certain cases, then the independence of the Philippine judiciary is a co-equal branch of this honorable and august House. That would be the height of the impingement of the freedom of expression, even assuming that there is no red tagging as mentioned. But the court, the Supreme Court itself, the Honorable Supreme Court itself said, it's actually practically cited and told Ms. Badoy to stop doing it and red tagging Judge Malagar because that impinges on the independence of the judiciary. There are other cases, not very far from here. There is a case that SMNI again gave the vehicle for the red tagging of your colleague, Congressman Franz Castro, recently.
Mr. Chair, sorry to cut off si
Yes,
Attorney Domingo.
sir.
May I ask the good resource person what date was the issue on Judge Malagar and what date yung issue regarding our colleague, si Ms. Castro? Thank you, Congresswoman Castro. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
It's October 2022 in GR number 263384, Your Honor. And the court very sternly cautioned Ms. Badoy to stop doing it. Mrs. Badoy even said that the judge was imbecile, that she belongs to the bowel of the earth, and all other invectives on SMNI. That's why the reason why we went motu proprio. The court, Supreme Court motu proprio issued that memorandum or that caution. At the same time, the movement against disinformation filed a petition for indirect contempt against Mrs. Badoy, which the Supreme Court, the Honorable Supreme Court, took cognizance of and is now pending adjudication by the Supreme Court.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. So we know the date of the case itself, but may we know the date of the incident of the red tagging of the good judge? Was that in 2022 or 2021?
2022, Your Honor.
2022 also.
Yes,
okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Please do proceed.
And of course, the others are, of course, against Atom Pagaduan Araulio. He was red tagged repeatedly. We also filed cases against the red tagging of the journalist in Cagayan de Oro, Corrales. We also, during the height of the COVID-19, SMNI was used as a red tagging vehicle against the frontliners. The medical doctors that were assisting the COVID victims, and the other nurses and other field workers of the Department of the Health. They were all red tagged. So there is a very perceptible trend that SFNI is being used as a vehicle for red tagging, and what had been termed by the Honorable Congressman Kimbo as a systematic vilification of certain people that are against what they are trying to advocate on SMNI. So in other words, what I'm trying to say, Your Honor, Congressman Gutierrez, is that we are simply documenting and putting on record these various cases to highlight the fact that the Honorable House Committee on Franchise should take into this matter.
Thank you very
pursuant
much.
to Section 21 of Rule 6 of the Constitution on this investigation power of the House Committee.
Thank you, Attorney Domingo,
Mr. Chair.
media law professor.
Mr. Chair, if Congressman Gutierrez would allow.
Gladly, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, the Honorable Toby.
Yes, because this case was, yung sa Supreme Court po, ano pong petsa po nun?
October po yan, Congressman.
Ano po?
October po.
2022.
2022, right.
Mr. Chair, last
Yes.
week sabi po nila meron silang ethics committee or ano ba yung sabi nila doon na nag-imbestiga ng grievance committee. Supreme Court na po ang nagsalita, di ba po? Na
Yes.
sinabing hindi ayos yung ginawa.
Opo.
Ano po kaya ang naging resulta ng investigasyon ng grievance committee tungkol sa bagay na yun, Mr. Chair?
SMNI. SMNI. Ito po yung grievance committee na, yes.
If we may advance the information, Mr. Chairman. The committee decided to impose sanction against Mr. Celis.
Is there a document that would show that a sanction was made?
Sorry, I'm sorry.
But,
Kay Ms. Badoy pala yung tinatanong niya.
so nagkamali po
I was
kayo na-
referring to Mr. Celis.
So, sandali. So, maliho. So, that is not a, you're striking that, you're requesting that, you're withdrawing that statement.
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Can you answer directly the question of the Honorable Toby Tiangco?
Yes, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
That time, I remember that the court ordered show cause for Dr. Badoy, and we also called her on the committee, Dr. Marlon, me, and the rest of the board, and she had submitted to the court what is ano pong sagot niya doon sa kanyang show cause at pinagsabihan din po siya na respetuhin po ang ating Supreme Court at nakinig naman po.
Pero
Mr. Chair.
alam po niyo yung grievance committee na mention ni the Honorable Tiangco is very questionable also. Because I raised that issue that when they told me the composition of the grievance is the producer, the executive producer, the associate producer. How can you have a grievance committee? Sila din naman na nagpalabas ng programang yun. Tapos sila how they cannot negate or they cannot go against their talents. Kasi alam naman namin yung negosyo ni Congressman Richard yan, no? Pag ikaw ang producer ng show, ikaw ang executive producer, tapos ikaw rin ang grievance committee, hindi ka pwede. Kasi anong pwede mo sabihin mali? Ikaw ang producer ng show. Di ba you cannot contradict what you just did. Sila na nagkamali eh. Ang nagkakamali din yung production staff din eh. Di ba? So, paano nyo gagawin yung grievance? So, anyway, ibang usapin yan ha. Pero I just would like to take note and put it on record again that the grievance committee, I think, is not organized correctly. You cannot have the executive producer of a show, the producer of the show, part of the grievance committee because they are part of the problem and they cannot be part of the solution. And I think anybody in television who has experience will agree with me on that. Yes, Honorable Toby Tiangco.
Yes, Congressman Gutierrez, Mayor.
Yes.
No, because this is a very serious allegation. Alam nyo, minsan, kahit hindi tayo nag-agree sa desisyon ng korte, we have to respect it. No?
Correct.
Hindi natin dapat batikusin yan. So, my question is, inimbestigahan ba sila ng network? Nung lumabas yung Supreme Court doon sa admonishment ng Supreme Court.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there an investigation or not,
Ma'am.
Mr. Chair?
Meron pa ba?
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Anong resulta?
Pinatawag po namin si Doc Lorraine and she was reprimanded at pinagsabihan po siya na igalang po ang ating korte.
Mr. Chair, can we have a copy right now of the reprimand?
We will submit within the day, Mr. Chair.
In the day, within 10 minutes, Mr. Chair.
Can you retrieve it from the office and send it to us? I-viber nyo lang po sa committee secretariat.
Yes po.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressman Gutierrez. And thank you, Chair.
General Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Congressman Tiangco. Mr. Chair, so according to our resource person from MAD, we have quite a few high-profile incidents ng red tagging, fake news. Of course, this is under Ms. Badoy, but we also have the instance now that is being investigated doon kay Mr. Celis that I would like to also include as a high-profile incident of fake news. So, Mr. Chair, one more question that I have for the lead convener of MAD. Mr. Chair, do we have this kind of trend occurring in other media outlets, in other networks?
May we recognize, Your Honor?
Please reply. Before that, the Chair would like to recognize the presence of our Senior Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Don Gonzales Jr. of the 3rd District of Pampanga, and Honorable Representative of the 1st District of Agusan del Norte, the Honorable Jose Aquino II. And of course, for the 1st District of Surigao del Norte, the Honorable Bingo Matugas. Welcome, sir, to the
Mr.
committee
Chair,
hearing. Yes, please reply, Attorney.
my apologies for the interruption, but may this representation be granted authority to leave the committee hearing as I have a flight to catch, Your Honor.
Well, it appears if you don't have any substantial, your role here is just to deliver a letter
Yes, Your
to
Honor.
the committee chairman.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you're excused.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much, Your Honor.
Yes, now proceed. The Honorable, yes. Who is the question? Yes, the Honorable, Mr. Attorney Domingo.
I'm not yet honorable, Your Honor. Thank
Yes.
you. In answer to the Honorable Gutierrez, there is a very perceptible and perhaps very, very systematic use of SFNI as a vehicle for red tagging and all this vilification campaign. Let's not go far from our house here right now. October 11, SFNI was used in an interview with the former president, threatening gravely your Congressman Franz Castro na papatayin siya. That's why we filed a grave threat case against the former president. Not only that, On November 16, the former president, in the same interview, in the same program, hosted by the SMNI, repeated the grave threat. Okay. Now came the subject matter of the privileged speech of the Honorable Suarez, about 1.8 traveled. These are all systematic trend of using that particular franchise for their own agenda. And I'm not implying anything that is political, but I am implying about the fact that there are disinformation, misinformation, fake news, and other historical revisionism being peddled on that particular SMNI.
Thank you,
platform.
Mr. Chair. And I think, yes, we are establishing this trend, no? Mr. Chair, I'd like to reiterate my question to the good attorney, if we may know, because I'm sure MAD as a social civic community organization is monitoring this information, not only with the SMNI. So, Mr. Chair, my question is, do we have a similar pattern of disinformation, of red tagging fake news in other outlets? Other media outlets, some of the big names, do we have the same kind of instance, or is this seemingly endemic to the SMNI?
Well, in fairness to the SMNI, there are some traditional media outlets that have been guilty of red tagging. And I cannot, for the moment, give you all the occasions that have been red tagging incidents. No? But nonetheless, what is very prominent in the context of in relevant and material to our discussion right now, what is very prominently mentioned and very, very high profile would be the SFNI.
So, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yung high profile pala na cases nito seems to be, based on our research person, endemic nga to the SMNI. Not exclusively, but the pattern seems to be established here. So, we bring this up because, of course, we were talking about the Section 4 violations when it comes to deliberately false information circulating. Of course, these are not, open and shut cases, but this tends to give us a pattern that we can look into, and this tends to establish it. So, Mr. Chair, Ms. Badoy is not here, but I would like to ask the attorney, perhaps, if he would be familiar with how long Ms. Badoy was with the USEC of PCOO.
I have no personal knowledge with respect to her engagement with the former administration, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Mr. Chair. So, but since when was she engaged for SMNI?
2021, Mr. Chair.
2021. Any specific month po ba?
July of 2021, Mr. Chair.
So, July of 2021. I would assume this is still a year before the election, no? So this was still in the previous administration.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So, Mr. Chair, maybe know, perhaps from the President, that they knowingly hired or perhaps engaged with Ms. Badoy as a sitting official? Or did she retire prior to the conclusion of the administration?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yusek Lorraine Badoy has program in SMNI, Laban Kasamang Bayan, during the time that she was still the USEC in the PCO spokesperson and a member of the NTF-LCAC.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So there was an overlap po, no?
Yes po.
We see a clear transition from Ms. Badoy being a USEC on a program of SMNI and now still being on SMNI but as a private person. Mr. Chair, does SMNI have any means of determining which statements she's making as an official and which statements she's making as a private person? Because I understand, Mr. Chair, the substance usually of the of her program would tend to revolve around this sort of systemic kind of information, as mentioned by the lead convener of MAD. So, Mr. Chair, we'd like to know if where does her official function end and the private person begin?
Can I defer the question to her lawyer?
Mr. Chair, I'd prefer to find out. No, I'm asking about SMNI's practice. How do you determine the separate liability?
No, actually, the broadcast has two kinds of broadcast. There's a live and there's a recorded. So we cannot, if there is live, of course we cannot stop her from talking.
Mr. Chair, but I believe that's actually a provision of your franchise, that it is a responsibility that you have to stop any
Well,
broadcast.
I mean, we cannot say what, we cannot tell her what to say, what not to say, because she's on live.
But surely, Mr. Chair, you tell her to speak as a private person. Or are you admitting here today that you were giving this airtime in an official capacity to the government of the Republic of the Philippines?
No.
So private nga po yun.
Yes po.
So, Mr. Chair, we have established now, because it was quite confusing during the last hearing, that she would cite government documents, especially if I recall, regarding Chairman Benny Abante. She cited that I have basis to say all of these things because we have in this intelligence cluster this and that. But Mr. Chair, it's admitted now by SMNI that it is in her capacity as private person. So I think something that we should consider is that this information that is spreading by virtue of their failure to segregate when is she acting in official capacity and when is she acting in a private capacity. Because of that commixture, we tend to have this information citing certain sources which aren't supposed to be relevant to their private capacity. So these are some of the things that we're seeing now, Mr. Chair. So, Mr. Chair, one more question. Fortunately, I'm not so versed in the world of television, but can you explain to us yung difference po as Ms. Badoy as talent and Ms. Badoy as the co-producer? Mr. President of the SMNI.
I would like to defer the question to our consultant.
Yes. If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Wait. Sir, you're acting as what?
I'm acting as the consultant for broadcast operations now.
You are a consultant.
Yes.
So anything that you say here, you are authorizing, Mr. President.
Yes, Your Honor.
Klaro po tayo dyan, ha? Mamaya sabihin nyo, may disclaimer na naman kayo dun sa consultant, ha? Okay, na hindi yan official position nyo. Sir.
Mr. Chair?
Kayo po. Yes.
Mr. Chair, just very quickly, so just want to confirm, as a consultant,
who are you referring to?
The one who volunteered to answer just now. Si Mr. Sancho ba?
Sonza.
Mr. Sonza.
Hindi
Mr.
mo
Chair,
ba napapanood yan? Sa ano?
perhaps not my time, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Okay.
Apologies if I should have known.
Okay.
But Mr. Chair, maybe ask si Mr. Sonza, maybe confirm that Mr. Sonza, as consultant, has capacity to make management and executive decisions within the SMNI.
Yes, a question. Mr. President, do you have that? Do you substantiate that statement? Na may kapangyarihan po siya kasi ang opinion ho niya importante kung sasangayunan nyo.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Bibigyan namin importansya yan.
Apo.
O,
Yes,
sige
Mr.
po.
Chair.
Okay. Yes.
Thank
Yes
you, Mr.
daw.
Chair.
Yes, Mr. Sonza. Please reply.
Para lang po malinaw sa takbo ng industriya. Ang status ni Ms. Badoy and Mr. Celis sa SMNI ay co-production. Yun ang pagkaka-relay sa akin. Ngayon,
Sandali lang po. Pakiklaro ho tayo. Yung pagka-relay sa akin, kinasiguraduhin ho natin kasi hindi ho natin pwede. Mr. President, ito ba'y talagang co-production?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Co-production, okay. Mr. Sonza, co-production, okay.
so co-production, marami ho kasing klase ang co-production. Co-production ng gasto sa pagpuproduce ng show, co-production ng hatian sa benta, co-production na ang hawak lang ng network ay yung technical component plus the airtime at yung hawak ng co-producer ay yung content provision.
Okay.
From itong sa kaso nila Mr. Celis at ni Ms. Badoy, ang responsibilidad ng SMNI yung TOC, Technical Operations, at saka yung airtime.
Okay.
Pagkatapos, kung magkakabentahan, siguro magkakahatian, no? Pero wala namang benta sila, so walang hatiin. Ngayon, yung content, dahil sa interactive yung concept ng kanilang programa, tuloy-tuloy yung broadcast.
Apo.
However, kapag ka merong magkakamali sa broadcast, that is the time we will call their attention and if necessary, we impose the sanction.
Okay.
Okay. Now, doon po sa tanong kanina ni Congressman Toby Chanco, Binago na po natin yung grievance committee. Gumawa na po tayo ng editorial board ngayon at saka ng ombudsman sa loob ng SMNI. So halimbawa, meron pong observation, sila ang MAD. Tapos, magsasubmit sila ng complaint. Yan po ay aasikasuhin ng editorial board. Katulad po ng nangyari kay Mr. Celis ngayon na sana ipapaliwanag ko kanina, nung mangyari po yon, imbestigahan. Kaya lang, naudlot yung investigasyon, gawa ng dito mismo, inamin niya na meron po siyang pagkakamali. That is why sanction have to be imposed. And we have now the official sanction, which we can provide the committee with what the actions taken by SMNI insofar as Celis is concerned.
Which is?
Which is suspension.
How long? Bigyan nyo na kami ng kopya,
Opo,
pwede?
meron po.
Can we have a copy, Mr. J. Sonza?
Opo.
Mr. Sonza,
Opo.
hindi po ilan taon na ba tumatakbo tong programa ni Eric at saka ni Lorraine?
Mga mahigit 2 years na, no?
Okay, may tanong po ko.
Opo.
Kung yan ay co-production at ang oras, ilaw, ang airtime sa inyo,
Opo.
ang talent, sila.
Ang content.
Ang content, sila.
Opo.
At silang anchor. Co-production eh.
Opo.
Co-production. Doon tayo ha.
Opo.
Kasi tama kayo, marami iba-iba co-production. Question. 2 years na tumatakbo yung programa. Walang kita. Paano po sila?
Kasi nga po ganito, yung konsepto nung...
Paano sila nakakapagtiis ng 2 taon na wala silang benta, pero araw-araw banat sila ng banat?
Yung banat po nila, hindi ko masasagot.
Okay. Hindi, pag sabi nagtatrabaho po sila, yun po ibig ko sabihin.
Ngayon, doon po sa ano...
Nagtatrabaho po sila.
Kung titingnan po ninyo yung konsepto ng pagtatayo ng SMNI, talagang para sa bayan.
Sagutin na po na, paano po nila nagagawa yun? Yun ang tanong ko. Kasi it does not make sense.
Opo.
Co-prod. Co-prod, pero sa kanila oras, pag sinabi co-prod, hati eh. Oras sa kanila,
Opo.
ilaw, lahat sa inyo, technical, sila talento, at saka content. Yun lang.
Opo.
Okay? Kasi doon nga kayo nagtatago doon sa waiver eh. Alam ko naman kung saan kayo pupunta. Pero sige, doon muna tayo sa issue ng co-fraud. Na pinapalabas nyo, co-fraud to, ergo, hindi namin sagutin kung anong sasabihin nila. Kasi co-fraud eh. Nagtatago kayo. Hindi nyo tinawag black timer, hindi nyo tinawag iba. Ang sinabi nyo, co-fraud. Okay. Benta, hati. 2 years, walang benta.
Sila po, wala po sila.
In short, wala silang income.
Opo.
Hindi po kaya pinapasweldohan ng SMNI sila. Kaya nabubuhay sila maski walang revenue.
Sweldo, wala akong alam na sweldo.
Hindi.
Kung honorario...
SMNI, can you please answer? Kung
Mr.
sweldo ba
Chair.
siya sa inyo, hindi?
Mr. Chair, point of clarification.
Yes.
Yes.
The Honorable, yes. Before
Just
that, the Honorable Gomez was wanted to be acknowledged. But before that, sumisweldo ba o hindi? Attorney, sagot lang muna.
Talent fee, Mr. Chair.
Meron.
Talent fee, not
Okay.
sweldo.
100,000.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Sagot nyo.
Per our co-production agreement, and the copy of the co-production agreement is already with the committee, Mr. Chair.
Okay, the Honorable Gomez and the Honorable J.J. Suarez.
Mr. Chair, would it be possible that the President answer your questions?
Okay.
Kasi siya yung talaga dapat nakaka-oversee ng lahat ng operations ng network. Hindi mo naman tinatapon sa consultant mo lang yun. Consultant, binibigyan ka lang ng tip kung anong pwede mong gawin. But, your day-to-day operations, it should be the President who should answer you. Yeah, he's the responsible person of that network.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Gomez. The Honorable J.J. Suarez.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Actually, I do share the sentiments of Representative Gomez regarding the who should be the one to answer. With respect lang dito kay Mr. Sonza, sir, you mentioned earlier that you're serving as consultant for SMNI.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Sir, when did you begin your consultancy with SMNI?
Just recently, Mr. Chairman.
Just
recently.
How long?
How long ago, sir?
Mr.
March
Sonza.
20, yeah.
Kailan po?
To be exact, March 20.
March 20.
Opo.
March 20. Do you have any documents that would attest to
Yes.
your
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
can you please submit this
We
to...
will submit it, Mr.
Submit it off before the day ends. Huh?
We will.
Thank
and
you
as
very much.
consultant, Mr. Sonza, will you be kind enough to share? Are you receiving any monetary benefits from SMNI?
Are you?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And would you be kind enough to detail to us how much you're receiving as consultant?
The record would speak for itself, Mr. Chairman. We will
Which
submit
is-
the record.
Okay. Can you just tell us, since there's a record, just tell us.
It's a sizable amount, Mr. Chairman.
Which is,
This is $1 million.
how much?
$1 million
Per?
per month.
Per month.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
So if the documents are there, Mr. Sonza, can you...
Okay.
Mr. Sonza, since the documents are there, can you be...
Silence is requested. The Honorable J.J. Suarez
Yes.
has the floor.
I think you referred to some documents that you were looking at, Mr. Sonza. Can you please furnish the...
Yes, we will,
Yes, okay,
Mr.
because
Chairman.
we just wanted to determine whether your consultancy and how long you have been a consultant. Kasi we've been having these hearings for the past 3 weeks at ngayon lang po kayo lumitaw kaya medyo nakakagulat po ang pagdalo ninyo sa komitiba. But nevertheless, maraming salamat po sa mga ibinahagi ninyo.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Mr. Chair,
J.J. Suarez.
Mr. Chair,
The Honorable Toby Jang.
again with the indulgence of Congressman Gutierrez, kailan po nagsimula yung grievance committee tsaka yung internal ombudsman ng SMNI?
President, Mr. President, kayo na po sumagot. Pagi ko, alam niyo naman po yan.
Oh, Mr. President, why are you consulting
The
someone
consultant.
else?
The President is consulting the consultant. Okay. Please
Mr.
proceed.
Chair,
Yes.
kasi yung transition period po, ngayon po ginawa namin ang grievance,
Okay. Anyway, Mr.
So,
President.
Mr. Chair, so ngayon, for the record, ngayon lang po sisimulan yung grievance committee tsaka yung internal ombudsman.
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Na-suspend si Eric kung ngayon na po binubuo yan. Hindi ba nakakapagtaka? Nagbubuo kayo ng wala pa kayong grupo, wala pa kayong formal structure, tapos wala kayong rules. Tapos, suspendin nyo na si Eric ng isang, ano sabi niya? Isang buwan? Isang taon?
Nasa manual na, di ba?
Wala pa. Paano nyo ginawa yun?
Actually po, Mr. Chair, nasa manual po yung grievance committee po
Oh,
namin.
pero tinatanong namin, alam po ninyo, di tayo matatapos kung hindi tayo magdiretsuhan. Sabi nyo kanina, wala. Nagbubuo pa kayo in transition. Pero may mga nasususpindi na kayo. Paano po yan? Paano nyo nagagawa yan? Maski sa manual yan, kung wala naman buhay yung manual, papel ho yan, no? Pero you will have to put life to that piece of paper. And you have not. And you've suspended it already, Eric. So where's due process there?
Mr. Chair, and
There'll be baka magkaroon ng NLRC question pa yan. Yes, Honorable.
nung po tinanong natin si Attorney Tolentino noon, ang sabi po niya,
Merong grievance.
wala silang grievance, meron sila ethics board. 'Di ba kaya nga napunta doon sa sino ang composition ng ethics board? Tapos ngayon po sinasabi nila nasa manual nila. Pero nung sagot po nila last week, wala po sila noon. So alin po ba talaga ang totoo doon? Kailan ba talaga nagsimula yung grievance committee? Tsaka kailan po talaga nagsimula yung kanilang internal ombudsman, Mr. Chair?
The veteran lawmaker is raising his hand.
Thank you, Your Honor.
To save Attorney Rolex.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Suplico.
Your Honor, we are transitioning from the grievance committee to the ethics committee. In the case of Eric Celis, I understand that it's still the grievance committee. Now we have the members and the constitution of the grievance committee. And they met to determine the case of Eric Celis.
Okay. So anyway, Attorney Rolex, medyo, anyway,
Mr.
Sige.
Chair, last na lang po.
The Honorable Toby Janko. Parang hindi ko
lagpas-
maintindihan yun.
Hindi, lagpas 10 minutes na po. Yung kopya po nung reprimand kay Professor Badoy.
Yes. May we have the copy of the reprimand? 10 minutes has passed. You're supposed to Viber. Ma'am, Board of Director. Di ba, meron po kayo dapat i-submit.
Yes po. We're follow up.
Okay. Well, we will not, hindi natin tapos itong araw ito.
Mr. Chairman.
Pakibilis lang.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, the Honorable Jopoy. Wait.
Mr. Chairman,
Let's make it clear. The Honorable Ramon Gutierrez still has the floor. Are you done with your
Mr. Chair,
question?
not yet, but I could...
Because you've given way to everybody, but are you done?
Pwede naman, Mr. Chair, my next line of questioning would be picking up from a previous question. So okay lang naman, Mr. Chair. I defer to the good...
Yes, because
Congressman Kim.
we will have already to go for the vote of the resolution. That's why I'm just allowing all of this discussion for clarity, so that we will be clear as to how the members will vote in today's hearing for the committee report. Though this has been approved, we're just talking the committee report here. Yes, the Honorable
Yes,
Jopoy.
Mr. Chairman, can we request for a copy of the contract that was manifested earlier between, they said it was 2 years ago, di ba? 2 years ago pa yung si Badoy and ka Eric. Can we have a copy of their contract, which started 2 years ago?
Okay, can we have a copy of the employment contract or the co-production contract or whatever contract you have with
2 years ago.
for this program?
Yeah, because I
Okay.
remember Badoy was,
Okay. Can we
Badoy
have
was
a copy?
still with the...
The contract, Mr. Chair, is already with the
USEC.
committee, Mr. Chair.
Oh, meron na po sinabit dito.
No, iba yung andito. Because if we will use this, sinasabi dito, nag-start yung contract nila is July, ngayon lang, 2023, and it is good for 1 year.
So can we have the previous contract?
Okay, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Attorney Tolentino. Okay, salamat po.
And when can they submit that?
Can you please submit that already by tomorrow?
Okay,
Because
Mr.
you'll
Chair.
have
Tomorrow,
to-
Mr. Chair.
Okay? Can you?
Tomorrow, Mr. Chair, we will submit that to the...
Thank you very much. Okay, we will hold you to that. We're listing down lahat ng mga kailangan nyo i-submit. Okay, now, wait. The Honorable, can we now proceed to the proponent? Wait. Yes, the Honorable Kimbo.
Just a short manifestation, Mr. Chair. The manual of operations had been repeatedly mentioned, but just for the record, so I'm looking at it now. Supposedly, based on the table of contents, it's supposed to have 221 pages, but what they had submitted is only 38 pages. Indeed, there are ethical principles which they are supposed to follow, which includes the handling of sources. But there's nothing on suspension, there's nothing on penalties. So kung nasuspinde si Mr. Celis, hindi natin alam kung ano ang ginamit na basihan or rules. Yun lang po, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Please take note of that. And, bakit may hinahawak si Mr. Sonza na mas makapal na dokumento na yun? Ato, every time hihingin kami, may nilalabas kayo ng bagong dokumento.
I was supposed to submit this actually.
Okay, can you please submit that now?
Yeah.
Comsec, okay, that will answer the
This is
question. Okay,
this
now,
is
yes.
The copy, the
I think, let us understand, yes, so let us be clear, no? May tanong nga pala ako. Bakit ho kayo may hawak ng dokumento, hindi ho si Presidente? Sino inabot ho sa inyo? Okay. Okay.
Katabi ko po yung corporate secretary. So,
Okay. The CorpSec is beside the consultant. Okay. If the CorpSec was beside the President, then it would have been the President to manifest.
Mr.
Okay.
Chair, para moving target itong ginagawa natin.
Correct. That's why, alam po nyo, yan yung problema pag piecemeal eh. That's why hindi nyo natin araw. Lahat ng hingi namin, kailangan isubmit nyo agad before the next hearing. Kung hindi, mahirap po na piecemeal ang submission nyo. We don't have time to review all these documents, especially voluminous as that. Yes, we now proceed. Can we now proceed? Are you done already? Can we now move to the last question? Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
The Honorable Gutierrez has his final question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, as I was establishing earlier with the co-prod, which was mentioned, actually,
Yes.
I was moving towards that, properly elucidated by the good Chairman Tambunting. questionable po yung kanilang 2 years na wala palang kita, it is still continuing. So it begs a question like, why do we have this program? What is the strategic goal that is in mind? Is it to perpetuate this kind of content? Yung tanong po namin, Mr. Chair, because, initially we'd think that this kind of program should be for profit, and as their franchise is for profit. But Mr. Chair, so with that, I'd like to ask if the COMSEC could briefly flash the resource indicated by Kong Dan Fernandez earlier, yung expenses nila. So Mr. Chair, based on the expenses ng SMNI, very clear, walang kita yon. And they said that with the co-prod, they are sponsoring the expenses of that program, and talent fee po yung
Correct.
binibigay kay Ms. Badoy. Bakit po blanco yung talent fee natin dito for 2022, which was at the time already yeah. And aside from this, so Mr. Chair, 2 questions po, no? Kung may talent fees po talaga si Ms. Badoy and si Mr. Celis, bakit wala po dito sa financial statements nila? And now I would like to ask also, papasok ba ito sa legal and professional fees? 100,000 a month po yun, di ba? So 800,000 for the whole year of 2022.
No, but it's 100,000 each.
100,000 each pa.
Yeah.
And then, where are we going to see now the 1 million per month ni our good consultant? I have questions about the veracity of the documents they've been submitting. We have questions about the financial statements that they've been submitting. We have questions about their franchise. Mr. Chair, we see now this pattern of violations, Section 4, Section 10, 11, 12. Parang wala na nanggagawang tama. So, Mr. Chair, I actually still have questions on the GIS. Fortunately for us, the CorpSec, Ms. Nepomuceno is here, but in the spirit of brevity, I will now concede. I will just question in the second round. So I will now turn the floor. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Ramon Gutierrez. Now, for the proponent of the resolution, the Honorable Mig Zocrales.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So before we vote to
The-
approve the
yes.
resolution,
She has the final, this is the final one
to
before the
approve
vote.
the committee report based on the resolution as amended that we adopted last hearing, no? Which is to simply naman urge the NTC to suspend the operations of SOARA, so based on its violations of their franchise. May I just be allowed to ask some clarificatory questions?
Yes, please.
So this is to SMNI.
Please take note, Attorney Tolentino. There are clarificatory questions to be asked by the Honorable Mig Zocrales.
So in our previous hearings, we already established that Suarez Sug is actually a monopoly. Kita naman po natin sa pie chart na nilabas po of the Kingdom of Jesus. And as well, with any of the lawyers, it's part of your due diligence to know the membership of the major stockholder of your corporation, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
May I know how many members the Kingdom of Jesus has today?
The kingdom of, no? I cannot answer that, Mr. Chair. I am the lawyer of SMNI, not the executive pastor
You
of the
just mentioned
Kingdom of
earlier
Jesus Christ.
it's part of your due diligence, di ba? Sinabi mo may due diligence as every lawyer to
I'll
know
try
the
to answer,
membership.
Mr. Chair, to the best of my knowledge, Mr. Chair. But to be honest, Mr. Chair, I have no personal knowledge to the number of members. But I know it's about more than millions, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Well, I did my due diligence. So meron naman po kayong website. Pakita po na lang natin yung screenshot ng website.
Okay. May we have the screenshot?
So it says in the screenshot of the website where Pastor Kibolo is there, no? You have 7 million worldwide, no? And congregations in Asia, North America, South and Central America, Europe, Africa, and Australia. So, ang laki, 7 million followers worldwide, members worldwide. And sobrang laki niyan. On what occasions, Mr. Chair, do these members get together?
Actually, Mr. Chair, I am not a member of that church, so I have no personal knowledge. I am just a lawyer of SMNI, Mr. Chair. I am not the lawyer of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. But I admit, Mr. Chair, that Pastor Apollo Sikiboloy is my friend, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Since dinidiin hindi niya sinasagot po. Okay. So since dinidiin naman po yung corporation soul dahil gusto niya tayong turuan, no? In 2006, when you converted from a non-stock corporation to a corporation sole, how many members would you have back then? How many members did you have back then?
As a corporation sole, Mr. Chairman, from the word sole, there's only one person involved, Mr. Chair, holding the properties of the corporation as a trustee per section 108 of the
Mr. Chair, I'm
Corporation
asking
Code.
about the members. Ng
No, we have to understand. This is one person representing
a religious sector.
a religious
Yes,
sector.
Mr. Chair.
Ilan yun?
That's why, Mr. Chair, I have no personal knowledge with respect to the numbers, but I can give estimate, Mr. Chair,
Which
more
is?
than millions, Mr. Chair.
Okay, more than
7
millions.
million, more or less, but it includes also the sympathizers, Mr. Chair, worldwide, Mr. Chair.
Okay, that's in 2006, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So let's just say, what's 2/3 of 7 million, Mr. Chair?
7 million, 2/3?
Yes.
That's around 4 million.
Around 4 million. Okay.
Yes.
And when you amended your AOI from a non-stock to a corporation sole, were you able to convene these 4 million members from all around the world?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to manifest that there was no amendment from stock to corporation sole, Mr. Chair.
Bakit?
Per record, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Can we show na lang po the GIS that you in your certificate of filing of amendment of articles of incorporation didn't you change from your non-stock to a corporation sole? Napaulit-ulit yung binibigyan ng, di ba, nilalabas corporation sole. Ngayon, are you recanting? What is the good lawyer recanting now that there's no corporation sole? There's no amendment? Parang nililito po tayo, Mr. Chair, so I just, can he
Attorney, I think
please
that's a
clarify?
misdeclaration, your statement earlier with this document.
So based on my personal knowledge, Mr. Chair,
We're not asking. This is a document that you
These are
submitted.
documents already. I mean, alam po ninyo, pag sabi yung, tingnan nyo na yung dokumento para maging tugma.
Anyway, so kita naman po natin may dokumento na they submitted, no? So again, 2/3 of the membership, if you have 7 million on an estimate, is 4 million. And now you're saying you don't know how they convened or whatsoever. Walang pictures of this milestone to have 4 million. It's such a big, diba, event all over the world.
so may I know the question, Mr. Chair?
The
Do you
question
have
is,
any proof
Do you have
that,
any proof that you've
you know,
convened?
the membership?
That is an estimate, Mr. Chair.
No.
I attended-
No, we're talking of any proof that you convened.
Yes, because as stated here in your certificate of filing of amended articles of incorporation, which you submitted to the SEC and you submitted to Congress as part of your repertorial requirements, on November 8th, you got the vote of at least 2/3 of the members of the corporation, right?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
And this is to amend to make it a corporation. So
Attorney.
I only answered that, Mr. Chair, that I'm not the lawyer of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. I'm the lawyer of SMNI, Mr. Chair. I have no personal knowledge about the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, Mr. Chair.
But I have a question. Don't you think you should have some working knowledge about this, since this you're representing SMNI, of which the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, the sole corporation, is part of, or majority of? I
Due
mean, how
diligence
can you
lang po
detach
yun.
yourself from that argument, di ba? Na dapat hindi ko kayo pwede magtago ron eh.
Yes,
Kasi with due diligence yan. As a lawyer, you come here, you're supposed to come here prepared and have the answers. And you can't waste the time of all the resource persons, and including the members of Congress.
Sorry for that, Mr. Chair.
Yes, that's why, if you keep on saying that you are not, I mean, you should, boss, third hearing na po natin to. You should be prepared to answer these questions already. Tapos, there's another lawyer that comes in just to deliver a letter. So, I mean, I don't understand. You have to be able to answer these questions. The question of the Honorable Nograles is, do you have any photo to show that the executive of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, the sole corporation, convened? Because as per the amended articles, you did convene. Attorney Rolex, baka kayo may sagot.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
We have discussed this when questions would touch on the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, the name above every name, Inc.
Yes.
We only have the certificate of filing of amended articles for 2023 and the other one, the previous one, 20.
Mr. Chair, since they
20,
are dodging.
22.
Yes, yes, you still have the floor. Go ahead.
Your Honor,
So are you able to answer the question, Attorney
we are
Roque?
engaged only by SMNI, Your Honor, and later on, during the second hearing, we agreed to be lawyers for Ms. Badoy and Mr. Celis, but not for the executive pastor, Your Honor. This is a
Yes,
different
but you know,
entity.
these are already amendments to the incorporation, the corporation that controls the SMNI. Now, hindi po dapat alam niyo ang sagot ito?
Your Honor,
how can you say that you don't have working knowledge and come here and we talk about this? How can there be an intelligent discussion with the resource persons?
Mr.
And
Chair,
how can you defend SMNI?
Your Honor,
if you do not know a basic question as far as this particular sole corporation.
with due respect, Your Honor, we are called here to answer for, one, the alleged 1.8 billion travel expenses expenditures of the Speaker. Number two, the red tagging allegedly made in a program in SMNI.
Well, very good, Attorney Rolex. But
I do not have any knowledge on what happened in 2006 when the vote was taken, with due respect, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, please.
Attorney, ganito lang po yan. You're also
Yes, Your
called here to defend SMNI. And in SMNI, there is a sole corporation of this nature. That's why we're just asking you, you cannot escape from the fact that this has to be part of your job, to be able to justify their very existence. You cannot say that hindi po ako abogado niyan. Then, pwede niyo sabihin, lahat yan, hindi ako abogado except SMNI. Ang problema, marami hong tao at maraming korporasyon nagko-control ho dun sa SMNI. So, kailangan, hindi po dapat. I mean, if there was a reversal, kayo po nakaupo rito at ako po dyan, at ako po yung abogado, hindi ba dapat? Alam ko rin yan.
Definitely, the view there is better than the view here, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. At least we're clear, Attorney Rolex. But you know,
I once sat over there for 9 years, Your
I
Honor.
know, and I used to watch you. And I knew you will ask questions like this too. Okay? At di nyo pinaparusot yung mga resource persons pag hindi tama yung sagot. The Honorable Nograles.
Mr. Chair, klaro ko lang
Thank
po,
you, Your Honor.
no, sanabi po kasi ni Attorney Suplico na they're being called here for, you know, yung mga red tagging. Nasa Agenda A. Nasa Agenda B tayo, we're talking about the resolution here.
Yes.
To clarify lang po. And which you are still also the lawyers for SMNI on this resolution, which is simply to urge NTC to suspend because of violations of your franchise. Correct, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Okay. So, iklaro po natin, let's not mislead right now what's happening. Hindi naman po ako yung nag-file nun. Pinag-uusapan natin ang resolution na final ko to urge NTC to suspend if we find na violations. Okay. And in any case, since they did not do their due diligence as lawyers, there is Section 114 of the Revised Corporation Code. And nandito naman din yung SEC na I can ask them questions if you cannot answer the questions of a major stockholder.
SEC.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, so, are you addressing
hold on.
this now?
Mr. Chair.
Wait, Attorney Tolentino.
I am...
Pwede bang tapusin po natin si Congressman Nograles? Di ho kayo pwede pumasok.
Sanay po kasi siyang ganyan, Mr.
Because you
Chair.
know, kanina nagsasalta, puro hindi nyo alam. Ngayon naman na bibigyan niya, ibabanda nyo sa iba, tatanungin nyo at papasok ulit kayo. Pwede bang tapusin muna ni Congresswoman Nograles yung line of questioning po
Sorry
niya,
for that, Mr.
bago
Chair.
ho kayo pagbigyan, ha? So, yes, the Honorable Nograles, para ho maging orderly yung proceeding at saka maintindihan ho natin yung issues. The Honorable Nograles.
So, Section 114 of the Revised Corporation Code, which embodies the rules for corporation soul, since gusto naman po nila tayong turuan tungkol sa corporation soul, explicitly requires that at least 2/3 of the membership will give its written consent or has voted to incorporate at a duly convened meeting of the body. SEC, tama po ba, Mr. Chair?
Yes. SEC, please answer the question.
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
And even jurisprudence, Iglesia Evangelista versus Bishop Lazaro, GR number 184088, dated July 6, 2010, states, even an amendment as well requires 2/3 of its membership, the vote or the written consent of its membership that convenes for that sole purpose.
SEC.
Correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Dito po, makikita natin sa pag-file pa lang nila ng Certificate of Amendment of Articles, that's why I highlighted it. It says 2/3 of the members of the corporation, which is not membership and violative of Section 114. Is this correct, Mr. Chair, to SEC?
That appears to be the case, Mr. Chair.
Yes. But of course, alam naman po natin, may mga submissions yan ng documents and you have to, SEC has to, if nagbigay sila ng documents, kailangan naman pong, di ba, i-approve.
Yes.
Right? So, can we show na lang the next slide?
Next slide, please.
So, they have a trustee certificate which is notarized, no? Sworn. There's an oath there. Sabi naman po na contradictory to the first page of the submission. This is attached to the 2006 amendment. Meron naman silang 2/3 of the members in a special meeting called for that purpose and jointly held on November 8, 2006. So I've been looking through the website. Wala mo naman po kasing pictures, walang anything. So if SMNI na lang po can furnish us a copy of a photo or proof of the notice. Kasi 2006, hindi pa pwede yung mga Zoom pag board meetings. So dapat, di ba, nakita yan magkasama-sama sila on November 8, specifically, especially for that they called a meeting. I'm really hoping SMNI would be able to submit such documents or proof. Because if not, hindi po ba to SEC, this is grounds for cancellation because of
SEC.
fraud?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Any document that appears to be fraudulent or false or contains false statement submitted in support of filing of articles of incorporation or any amendment that constitutes fraud in the procurement and may be cancelled, Mr. Chair.
So mukhang kahit yung SEC, binibigyan nila ng iba-ibang requirements, the documents na contradictory to each other. The
Yes.
first statement on the first page of the GIS, and mas malala, if they cannot prove this, Mr. Chair, this is a criminal offense for perjury because this is under oath. The same as the document submitted to us na iba po ang sinabit sa atin sa Kongreso, na nalaman po natin today, and sa SEC, di po, fraud po yun. So, to clarify lang po then with SEC, para malaman po natin within the purview of SEC anong definition ng fraud. Meron po kasi akong nabasang administrative case number 03-15-173 on Nature's Garden Park versus Enforcement and Investor Protection Department, where you defined fraud within the purview of SEC to be fraud as actual or constructive. And in the same case, you mentioned that any material statement made by an incorporator in its articles of incorporation or amendment that turns out to be falsehood would be considered fraudulent. And again, yung fraudulent na to, regardless of the incorporator's intent or knowledge of such falsehood, correct, Mr. Chair?
Yes,
That's
SEC.
correct, Mr. Chair. Correct, Mr. Chair.
Essentially, pag mag-good faith na naman na argument, no, that they didn't know, they didn't comply, it's still going to fall as fraud within the definition of SEC. Correct?
SEC.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
And
you.
fraud, in submission nga, even if they say good faith, is a ground to cancel such amendment or certificate of registration. Correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Paano mangyayari?
Okay.
Proceed.
May I ask, and with this cancellation, no, may I ask lang, NTC naman po, Mr. Chair.
Please proceed.
For NTC, it is within the power of the NTC to issue certificate of public convenience for operation of communications of radio and television broadcasting system, correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And corollary to this power and to your regulatory powers, does NTC also have the power to suspend such certificate, license, or permits?
Sagot. Proceed.
If the violations are directly in violation of the CPC that the NTC issued, then the NTC may consider, Your Honor, but we take into account also the other jurisprudences in light of this. Thank you.
Essentially, Mr. Chair, we just want to clarify from NTC. If we see violations, now that we're seeing several violations within especially the franchise of Suarezug, and even if we dig deeper and see more violations, does NTC have the power to suspend while we're looking into violations at magkakaputukan po na lalabas po ang violations? Mr. Chair.
Your Honor, we will be evaluating very carefully the resolutions and whatever that this committee may come up with too, and we take into account also the existing mandate that we have and the corresponding jurisprudence.
Yes,
Mr.
simply
Chair.
that's why our resolution is to urge NTC, no? So, to enlighten lang everyone, I suppose, let's run through na lang po the violations. First, di ba, yung ground naman po ng pag-urge natin sa NTC dahil may violations sila sa franchise. Klaro naman po, kanina pa, that we have, next slide please, on their franchise, which is RA 11422. Section 4 was violated, diba? Not to use the station or facilities for dissemination or of deliberately false information or willful misrepresentation to the detriment of the public interest. Okay, next slide. Last meeting, of course, we established this with this whole shift of the controlling interest, no? And again, this would hit another provision in their franchise, which is on the next slide, Section 10, which we have established that there is no prior approval on the transfer of the controlling interest. And then, that's the first sentence of Section 10. The next slide, please. There's also a violation on the requirement to report within 60 days from the transfer of the controlling interest. So, punta tayo sa, mukhang ngayon, dahil sa nakita natin, no, that the latest GIS statement that they submitted to us is different. The one, 2021 po ba yun? 2021 GIS submitted to us on the repertorial requirement is different from the one that they submitted to SEC. Mukhang ngayon may violation na rin po sa Section 12. Which, if I may direct this committee lang to Section 12, on the repertorial requirements, on the third paragraph, actually, the second paragraph, the annual report shall include an update on the rollout, development, operation, or expansion of business, audited financial statements, latest general information sheet officially submitted to SEC. So bakit po iba ang sinubmit sa atin at iba ang official sinubmit po nila sa SEC? Certification of the NTC on the status of its permits and operations, and an update on the dispersal of ownership undertaking if applicable. The next paragraph, the repertorial compliance certificate issued by Congress shall be required before an application for permit, certificate, or any equivalent thereof is accepted by the NTC. So ngayon, mukhang pumasok na meron na rin pong violation ng Section 12. Pero hindi pa po tayo tapos. Like we showed earlier, last hearing, next slide please, lalabas ko po ulit na lang yung pie chart, that essentially, 53.46% is the executive pastor, Phoebus Holdings is 46.22. Phoebus Holdings naman, about 97% is owned by executive pastor na, 'di ba, noong 2022 naman, na-establish natin na si pastor po ang talagang may control naman. So equivalently, may 98.37% na share talaga si executive pastor. So, but makikita po natin na ang cooperative na wala rin po doon sa kanilang franchise na ginawa nila to comply after 29 years of existence ay 0.19 lang po. Ang layo-layo ng 30% requirement nila to offer the public sa dispersal of ownership clause nila. And they only did this 2 years ago, after 29 years of existence, Mr. Chair. Di ba, sinabi po naman, Mr. Chair, nila that they are complying. And may good faith na naman. Pero questionable na gusto pala nila comply. 2 years ago lang nila kinomply after 29 years of existence. Medyo, di ba, Mr. Chair, nakakapagduda. Di ba? But even with that, we'll show the next slide. So, dahil hindi umabot sa 30%, meron violation on Section 11. Okay. More than even the franchise, nakikita natin tuloy-tuloy yung mga violations nila. Even with the Constitution. Next slide, please. Because we've established that there's monopoly. On Article 12, Section 19, the state shall regulate or prohibit monopolies when public interest so requires. No combinations in restraint of trade or unfair competition shall be allowed. Next slide. Hindi lang isa na violation on the highest law of the land, which is the Constitution, pati rin po ang Section 16, Section 11, Article 16, that Congress shall regulate or prohibit monopolies in commercial mass media. Na mukhang tinatamaan na rin po na kailangan natin din tingnan to. Kaya nga, di ba, nakikita natin may mga violations. Not even with the Constitution. Let's also go to the KBP Broadcast Code, which they only withdrew their membership on December 4, 2023. So they cannot now wash their hands and say that all other violations that they did prior to that does not apply to them. So next slide. Article 1 of the KBP Broadcast Code on Section 3, Fairness and Objectivity. News reports shall be fair, factual, and objective. Okay. Next slide. Meron din on Section 4 on news sources. The only news that can be attributed to a source shall be aired. News must be clearly identified. You know, there are violations here na naklaro naman, di ba, na Mr. Chair, correct, na umamin naman po na may mga violations at hindi nag-comply at hindi na-verify. Tama po, Mr. Chair. Not just Section 4, the next slide. Meron pa pong personal attacks na bawal po, na nalabas po naman nila Honorable Manuel and Honorable Castro kanina po. Next slide. Meron din Article 5 naman kung sinasabi nila nagkakamali. When a mistake has been broadcast, it must be acknowledged and rectified as soon as possible. At ngayon lang sila nagsasabi ng sorry dahil nag-iimbestiga po tayo. Parang, bakit ganun po, di ba? Meron din, Article 13 ng KBP Broadcast Code. So, persons who regularly go on air shall be required to obtain accreditation. Okay, some of the SMNI hosts were not KBP accredited. Correct, Mr. Chair? Ako nga po, hindi nga po ako KBP accredited. Sinasabi na dati po akong co-host, kaya nga po umalis. Kasi mukhang may mga violations tayong nakita. So, I can attest to that veracity na some hosts really are not accredited. Okay. Then we have another article sa KBP Broadcast Code, Article 33. The Universal Ethical Standards. Ang dami po kaya sa KBP Broadcast Code. Hindi lang po yun. Mr. Chair, meron din po sa sarili nating house rules. Para maklaro lang kung bakit, di ba, na cite for contempt. Pakita po natin ang next slide. For sure naman, when the Honorable Pimentel and the Honorable Abante moved to cite the two individuals for contempt, syempre mabigat yun sa loob. Pero trabaho din po natin na kailangan to maintain the integrity of this Honorable Committee of Congress ay pag may lumalabag sa batas at may lumalabag sa House rules natin, it is our duty to move for those para hindi tayo niloloko. Ayun naman po din gusto natin, hindi tayo maloko po, di ba? And so, to emphasize that there are violations naman po talaga, which we cited, which the Honorable Congressman cited, which is Section 11C on refusal to answer any relevant inquiry, which today we also heard nga, yun naman, di ba? Yung dahilan kung bakit na-cite in contempt po. And also, acting in a disrespectful manner towards any member of the committee or any misbehavior in the presence of the committee. And then, next slide. Today, now we see maybe there's a violation na rin with SEC that SEC should start looking into. Because merong hindi pagtutugma-tugma ang kanilang pagbibigay ng dokumento sa pag-apply ng kanilang amendment that will be detrimental now to their pinangahawakan nilang corporation soul sila. Kung mawalan sila ng certificate niyan, yung amendment to begin with, wala pala. Balik sila sa non-stock. So, mawawala yung argument nila. So, kailangan po ata talagang tingnan nila yan. And tingnan po rin ng SEC. Hindi lang po yung NTC na. No? And again, the next slide, babalik ko, na may violation din sa revised corporation code. So, in the event then that they find fraud in the amendment of AOI of the the Executive Kingdom of Jesus, no? Let's go back to the pie chart. Ano mangyayari? 'Di ba? Pareho pa rin yung numero. Kasi kung magiging non-stock sila, babalik sila sa Kingdom of Jesus na hindi corporation soul at mas malala kasi non-stock sila. 98.37% pa rin. Kasi essentially the 53.46 and the 44.91 ay magiging Kingdom of Jesus na non-stock. And obviously, 'di ba, monopolistic siya, which is violative of so many things. So, ngayon, with meron pa din po, next, na mukhang even the first hearing, we have established that meron ang pending administrative case filed against SMNI for red tagging and misusing of their platform. Tama po, Mr. Chair sa NTC? There's a pending.
Please reply to the inquiry of the Honorable Logrado.
Yes, yes, Your Honor, Mr. Chair. There's a pending case admin case with the Suarasug with the NTC.
So essentially, that's why we are urging NTC to suspend muna habang nakikita natin na mukhang niloloko-loko tayo dito. In summary lang, para pakita po natin sa taong bayan ang mga violations that we have seen so far. Not just their franchise on Section 4, Section 10, Section 11, mukhang ngayon pati Section 12. Pati ang highest law of the land, ang Constitution natin, dalawang articles. Article 12 and Article 16. Even the KBP Broadcast Code, there's Article 1, Article 4, Article 5, Article 9, Article 30, Article 33. Sarili nating house rules din. Kasi hindi nila sinasabi yung totoo. Meron tayong Section 11C and 11E sa House Rules natin. At mukhang ngayon, kahit po sa Revised Corporation Code, mukhang ganon. So, we're simply really urging NTC na mukhang nagkakalokohan dito kasi may mga fraudulent aspects dito. Sino pa ba ang next natin makikitang manloloko? Sabi nga ni Attorney Mark, walang forever. Dahil po yun sa meron mga manloloko. At kung lolokohin ka, di ba, dapat hindi ka nagsistay sa isang toxic situation. So ito na mukhang may panloloko at naloloko tayo, kaya nga may house rules. At, 'di ba? At mukhang lumalabas pa konti-konti at saka nagda-dodge sila sa pagsasagot ng mga tanong pag hindi nila masagot, Mr. Chair. Ang nakakatakot ay sino pa ba ang lolokohin kasi nila? Papayag po ba tayo na mandato natin to protect the people from misinformation, to protect people from people who are violating the laws? Papayag po ba tayo? Sana yung NTC, tingnan nyo mabuti to, na habang tinitingnan at inuungkat lahat ng mga violations, not just the franchise, na makita nyo naman, paunti-unting may nakikita tayong mga violations. Sana po ay suspindihin nyo muna habang tinitingnan natin lahat po ng mga violations na nangyayari. Yun lang naman po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, can I comment to that, Mr. Chair?
There's no question, though, Mr. Chair. But
Wala po siyang hinihinging sagot sa kanyang sinabi. Attorney.
But can I make a simple manifestation about, hindi about forever or not forever. It's about
Okay,
the law.
I'll give you 1 minute. Go ahead.
It's about corporation soul, Mr. Chair. It's different from religious societies. Under the revised corporation code corporation soul is under section 108, 109 up to 113, Mr. Chair. Religious societies is section 114 of the revised corporation code. Maybe the beautiful congresswoman.
huwag kang bumawi-bawi ngayon pagkatapos mo mag-post ng mga kung ano-ano tungkol sa akin na tawagin akong beautiful. Ha?
Mr. Chairman, I just want Attorney Tolentino
May
to
nagpapabango kasi
have a
siya.
proper decorum. You should address the chair. And you should not point out members of this committee in your manifestation or else.
Mr. Chair,
I have still a
that's not-
question with you after this. When it comes to investigation, mamaya yung resolution sa investigation, sasagot ka pa doon. Kaya ayusin mo, baka agahan mo yan.
Sorry
Okay.
for that, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, kasi naman, like, klaro naman, di ba? I've not talked about anything personal. No. Let's not use this hearing to hit on personal. Sige, you can post on your page personal things, but let's not talk about this here because I'm not talking about it here naman. And just to rebut na lang po, SEC, that's why I said the case of the Iglesia Evangelista versus Bishop Lazaro. Because that's a case that talked about corporation soul and its amendment and applicable nga ang pagpa-file at applicable din sa kanila ang corporation soul ang 114 on religious societies of the 2/3 vote of membership. Correct po, Mr. Chair.
Correct, Mr. Chair.
So, he cannot say, again, a religious society nakasulat sa section 114 because I did my due diligence and I studied and came prepared to court today, to the hearing today. Nasanay. That there is an existing jurisprudence that explicitly already refers that section 114 on the 2/3 vote of the membership is applicable to amendments of corporations to amend it to become a corporation sole. Yun lang po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Before we continue, I already signed the attendance sheet for the plenary. Everyone here is present in the plenary. So now, we proceed.
Mr.
Yes,
Chair.
I think that's very clear.
Mr.
Thank you
Chair.
very much, the Honorable Nogales, for the
Mr. Chair.
for the rundown of the various violations. The Honorable Toby Chanco.
Mr. Chair, I just want to follow up if the written reprimand has been sent already. I think it's all
Yes,
already been unarmed.
ma'am. Nasa yung reprimand? Nandiyan na ba?
It was already sent, Mr. Chairman, through email
To whom?
to the committee, Mr. Chair.
Can you please pick it up sa ComSec? You might want to be able to pick it up. Are you sure? Are you sure it was sent already?
I will verify it, Mr. Chair.
Okay, because we're going to pick it up now. Because Honorable Toby Chanco does not want to let go of that particular document because of his line of questioning in the second round. Thank you.
So, okay? So, there are no other questions to be asked by the member. Now,
Mr. Chair?
Attorney Domingo.
Yes, with your permission, because Congressman Nograles mentioned about the NTC case,
Yes.
and we are actually handling that, Your Honor. And one of the prayers, just to amplify and echo the resolution, we have a prayer for the cease and desist of similar broadcasts of SMNI on this matter. So that might be a good way of segueing on that as well, Your Honor. Just a matter of information, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Attorney Domingo. Okay, that being said.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, yes.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Chair, if we are concluded with the
Yes,
questioning,
we are.
I would like to make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chair, may I move, if the sponsor is so minded, to amend House Resolution again, 1499, to be amended to include the last whereas clause to read as follows.
Which is?
Whereas the mandatory requirements in Section 10 and 11 are distinct and separate from the annual report required to be submitted by the franchisee under Section 12, the mere inclusion of any change in ownership in the annual report is not the compliance contemplated by the aforementioned sections. Considering that the grantee is operating a business that requires 100% Filipino ownership and any change thereof requires scrutiny by Congress in order to protect public interest. Mr. Chair.
That is the specific amendment. So you're amending by addition.
Addition, Mr. Chair.
By addition. You're not deleting anything. You're not. Okay.
A last whereas clause.
There's a
Mr. Chair.
motion to amend the bill of the Honorable, the resolution of the Honorable Nograles. Any second?
Second.
The amendment by addition is hereby approved. Any other amendments? If there are no other amendments, the chair will entertain a motion for the approval of the committee report.
Mr. Chair, if I may be recognized, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. The Honorable D.
There being no other members who wish to give comments regarding the said House resolution, I move that we approve said House resolution.
Seconded, Mr. Chair.
On which one? On the committee report? Yes.
On the committee report as amended, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion by the Honorable D. of Isabela. Any second?
Seconded, Mr. Chair.
Oh, there's too many members that said second. But the loudest would be the Honorable Aquino and the Honorable J.J. Suarez. Duly seconded by the Honorable Aquino and the Honorable J.J. Suarez. Any objections? The chair hearing none, House Resolution number 1499 as amended is hereby approved.
Mr. Chair.
The Honorable
thank you, Mr. Chair. So since tapos naman na po ang pag-take on natin ng resolution and it has the committee report has been approved, mayroon lang po akong gustong ipaliwanag din regarding this. So I'm not objecting to the resolution. In fact, tayo po ay natutuwa na dahil sa resolution na na-file ni Congresswoman Nograles ay nakatulong ito para mas mapag-usapan natin talaga ang mga maraming violations at ang mga hindi tamang ginagawa ng SMNI. But moving forward, Mr. Chair, in our efforts against fake news and disinformation, nais pong isulong ng mga kabataan ay ang consistency sa ating mga efforts. We have to go after all sources and we must have a clear goal through a holistic approach in combating these social problems. Also, Mr. Chair, we also need to ensure na yung mga individual din talaga na sila ang mga namuno sa ganitong mga maling nangyayari ay mapanagot to the fullest extent of our laws. Finally, Mr. Chair, ang isang concern natin ay with the NTC that has record of blocking websites, for example, na yun din ay mga bahagi ng alternative media and people's organizations at ang basis din ng pagbablock sa mga iyon ay red tagging din mismo. Kaya with that, Mr. Chair, as a matter of principle, I abstain from the committee report. Notwithstanding yung mga layunin natin to combat fake news, red tagging, and disinformation. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Much we respect that. So the Honorable yours is just a abstention. You're manifesting that your vote is abstention. Okay? On a majority vote with one abstention, the committee report approving the resolution HR House Resolution number 1499 as amended is hereby approved. I will suspend the session because there's another issue that we will have to tackle, which is the request of Eric. There's a letter in our possession of Eric for furlough, and the committee will have to tackle this. So we will just suspend, and we will ask the resource persons to those that are not part of this can already go, as this will already be a committee action only. If the request of for humanitarian reasons, we will grant the request of Ka Eric. There's only one letter. Ka Eric. Wala po tayong sulat galing po kay Ka Lorraine. So we will now, this session is hereby suspended.
Chairman, clarify lang sana, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Kasi the motion for reconsideration that was received by the chairman and of course this committee came from Ka Eric.
Yes.
Wala po yung kay
Ka Lorraine.
Ka Lorraine. Now, he will be represented by Attorney Mark, and it is in line with the privileged speech of Congressman
Yes.
Gigi Suarez.
Yes.
So, tapos na tayo doon sa House Reserve for Suspension, balik tayo doon sa inquiry in aid of legislation. Just to make it clear, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Kasi, Mr. Chairman, but of course, yung ibang mga resource person, pwede na nga mag-excuse. Okay din ako i-suspend. Pero I just want to make it clear, Mr. Chairman, that the lawyer, and until now, until today, he still stand for Ka Eric and Lorraine Badoy, should be present. Kasi wala naman dito si Ka Eric, kasi I have to ask him.
Yes, okay. Okay, so
Mr. Chairman,
yeah, like
can
I
you
said,
assure me that Attorney Mark will be present?
yes, Attorney
Thank you, Mr.
Mark,
Chairman.
can we ask the lawyers of Ka Lorraine and
submit
Ka
that,
Eric to be
Mr.
present?
Chairman.
It is for the best interest of your clients.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And we asked you, you're still lawyering for both, right? The manifestation.
Me and Attorney Rolex, Mr. Chair.
Kayong dalawa.
Yes,
Maraming
Mr. Chair.
salamat.
And also for SMNI, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Wala pa yung submission nilang document sa email.
Okay, I just would like to again inform you, no, we're already suspended, but wala pa ho yung email nyo. Nag-aantay kami ng email, wala pong dumadating, ha? We just checked the email of the House. Wala pa. So before we resume, sana nandyan na po, okay? So maraming salamat to the resource persons, the different government